Welcome to Columbia, South Carolina, home of the rock group Hootie and the Blowfish, city of the South Carolina Gamecocks, and tonight, site of Colorado Silver Bullets baseball. Tonight, the Silver Bullets take on the Carolina Bombers. Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy Warren, along with my broadcast partner, Julie Grotto. Sauna-like conditions here at Capital City Stadium, temperatures in the 90s. And you know what they say, if you can't stand the heat, you gotta get out of the kitchen. But for the Silver Bullets, nothing can be finer than playing in the Carolinas.
You're absolutely right, Tracy. The Carolinas have been great to the Silver Bullets. They have 2 wins here, one in Greensboro, North Carolina, and one in Greensville, South Carolina. In fact, the only no-hitter to be thrown by the Silver Bullets was thrown by Lisa Martinez last year in Charleston, South Carolina.
24 games into the season, and the numbers are looking good. The Silver Bullets are up in almost every offensive category.
Sure. More than halfway into the season, they've already doubled their stolen bases. They have 22 this year, as opposed to only 9 in '94. Also, the Bullets have scored 74 runs, which is only 2 shy of the 76 that they scored in 1994.
On the mound for the Silver Bullets, right-handed pitcher Pam Davis getting her 5th start. She's made a smooth transition from the bullpen to the starting rotation.
Pam Davis has done an excellent job. She's only 20 years old. She's the youngest Silver Bullet. She's done a great job of stepping in and filling Shea Sloan's shoes. Shea Sloan was a starter for the Silver Bullets who went out with a back injury.
It's a rematch of last year's game, which has the Silver Bullets looking for revenge. We'll have starting lineups from Capital City Stadium in South Carolina after this. Welcome back to Columbia, South Carolina, Capital City Stadium for Colorado Silver Bullets baseball. The Colorado Silver Bullets taking on the Carolina Bombers. The weather conditions here in Columbia, South Carolina, boy, it is humid. Temperatures in the 90s, and it has cooled off recently. Humidity 85%. Wind light breeze, 7 to 10 miles per hour, and the heat index 116 degrees. Umpires for today's game, behind home plate, Wes Bickley. First base, Chris Page. And on third base, Dennis O'Keefe. And the Silver Bullets hoping that July brings them some good luck. They have yet to win a game here. That's the man they will face to start it off for the Bombers, Mark Clemens, the 6'2" pitcher who spent 6 years in the minor leagues, got as far as AAA baseball, even played for the replacement Braves during the strike season. And he is anxious to get on the mound today. And he will face this lineup for the Colorado Silver Bullets. Michelle McEnany will lead it off at second base. Stacy Sonny will bat at the number 2 spot. She is leading the team in hits. Pam Shafrath will bat number 3. She'll play right field tonight. Kim Bratz will bat cleanup. She is in center field. Carrie Kropke is in left field. She'll bat 5. Tamara Ivy is at first base. She bats number 6. Kara Kogenhauer is the DH for tonight. She has a pair of doubles in this season. Tony Heisler, the mainstay at shortstop, will bat number 8. Missy Kress will be doing the catching today. She is batting number 9. The defense for the Carolina Bombers, from left to right, Mark Connerly, David Ross, and Danny Rhyme. From third to first, Dwight Robinson at third, Mark McCallum at short, Teddy Hefner at second base, Roscoe Still is at first, Chris Boyle doing the catching, and on the mound, as we had mentioned, Mark Clemens.
Well, I spoke with Teddy Hefner, the manager for this club, and he had told me that Mark Clemens was only going to pitch 2 innings. He said, quote unquote, unless we're down. We just got word that he will in fact be pitching 3 innings. So I think that the Carolina Bombers may be a little more nervous than they will admit.
Michelle McEnany will be the first batter to face Mark Clemens. She comes in batting 188. She leads the team on base on balls with 28. A graduate of Cal State Northridge, a tremendous softball program. Her father, brother, and cousin all spent time in professional baseball, whether at the major or minor leagues.
Now, as you mentioned, Tracy, Michelle is leading the team in walks with 28. She had 32 last year, which was the team's best.
McEnany, as per usual, takes high, ball 1. Mark Clemens, 6'2", 190-pounder, 32 years old, says he feels he can still pitch in Major League Baseball says he still throws some heat, about 88 to 90 mile per hour fastball.
In fact, Mark is actually 37 years old. The information we were given was apparently his Braves age. As you mentioned in the Open, Tracy, he was a replacement player for the Braves this year, so he is capable of playing at that level.
1-2 now to Michelle McEnany. McEnany looking to set the table for the Silver Bullets. And Mark Clemens gets his first victim in Michelle McEnany as she goes down swinging.
When I asked Teddy Hefner to describe Clemens' style, I said, what does he throw? And he looked at me and he said, he throws heat. Plain and simple. He's got a great change and a good curveball. He hits his spots very well.
That is McEnany's 15th strikeout on the season. Stacey Sonny steps into the plate. She leads the Silver Bullets, batting a healthy .259. Strike one to Stacey Sonny.
Now, Stacey's really proven her ability to get the bat on the ball. In this season, she has only had 2 strikeouts and 4 walks.
Had a 6-game hitting streak just about a few games ago, but you'll notice the shiner under her eye. Ground ball to second base. Teddy Hefner gloves it and throws out Stacey Sonny for out number 2.
Stacey's been plagued with injuries this year. She's been very, very unlucky. Not only did she get hit in the eye, she's had a back injury and a problem with her hand and her Achilles.
The Chicago, Illinois girl, Pam Shafrath, steps in, batting .175, a graduate of Drake University.
Well, taking a look at Phil's lineup tonight, he has put all of his power hitters in. He is going with an offensive lineup as opposed to a defensive lineup. He wants to score tonight. He wants to win tonight. There's
been a platoon situation in right field for the Silver Bullets. Pam Shafrath sharing some time with Angie Marzetta.
You being here. Same.
And also Shannon Mitchum popped up behind the plate. Chris Boyle's going to give a chase, but it's foul, out of play.
So Shafrath has really done a good job adjusting this year. Last year she was an everyday player in the outfield. They put her in the outfield. She's played at first base. She's DH'd for them. She has really come through. She says patience is the key to her season.
And Phil Niekro shows a lot of confidence in Pam Shafrath. As you had mentioned, Julie, not an everyday player, but he's going to stick her in at the number 3 spot because she's got some power on that bat. Has 2 doubles coming into this game. Strike 2. 1-2 now to Pam Shafrath. And Mark Clemens is working very, very quickly and diligently through this Silver Bullet lineup.
Now Pam is a power hitter. She uses her lower half well. In fact, she says she sits on the ball when she hits it. She's working on not being as anxious at the plate.
Showed some patience there. Took low and outside. 2-2 now to Pam Shafrath. Silver Bullets looking to break an 8-game losing skid. Their last win came June 22nd in Albany, New York. Strike 3 swinging, and Mark Clemens makes light work of the Silver Bullets in this first inning. No runs, no hits, nobody left on. We move to the bottom of the first. We're scoreless. Bottom of the first inning, we are scoreless as the Bombers are going to get their first lick at the Colorado Silver Bullets. On the mound for the Silver Bullets, we had mentioned the youngster Pam Davis, as she has moved from the bullpen to the starting rotation due to injury, and now Joe and Phil Niekro said she's going to stay there. She's got enough stuff to become a permanent fixture in the starting rotation. And here's the lineup she will face for the Carolina Bombers. Leading off front in center field, David Ross. At shortstop in the number 2 spot, Mark McCallum. At second base, Teddy Hefner will bat number 3. Danny Rame will play right field and bat number 4. At third base, Dwight Robinson will bat number 5. Mark Connolly will bat 6. Chris Boyle do the catching and bat 7. Roscoe Still will play first and bat 8. And Mark Clemens, the pitcher, will bat number 9. The defense behind Pam Davis going from left to right field. Kerry Kropke, Kim Bratz, and Pam Shafrath. From third to first base, Stacey Sonny, Tony Heisler, Michelle McEnany, Tamara Ivy. Catching, Missy Kress, making only her 6th start this year. And on the mound, Pam Davis. David Ross will lead it off for the Carolina Bombers.
David Ross is hitting .459. He has 2 home runs early in the season with 37 at-bats.
And that is a shot down the third base line. It will be extra bases for David Ross as he motors into second. A stand-up leadoff double for David Ross.
Well, not a great start for Pam Davis, who admitted to being a little bit nervous here tonight. It's her first televised start. And in fact, her family is watching at home, and her pitching coach is here. You'll see he jumped right on that first pitch, drove it right down the line. That's a solid double in any ballpark against any team.
David Ross shows some speed, a stand-up double for David Ross. Mark McCallum steps into the plate. He will face Pam Davis. The knock on Pam Davis is she does have a little jitter in the first or second inning, but then she calms down. And Joe and Phil Niekro have shown a lot of confidence in her, Julie, and saying she can come back from behind the count better than almost any pitcher on the Bullet staff.
Sure, she very rarely gets behind the count, and when she does, she still throws her good stuff.
Davis keeping an eye on Ross, who's taking a healthy lead out there at second. Mark McCallum, 35-year-old, played at Presbyterian College, and many of these players have college or minor league baseball experience. They are 30 years and older from the Columbia Men's Senior Baseball League, a collaboration of two teams, the Central Rockies and Columbia Braves, plus a few media types mixed in. And this is really about the first or second time they've played officially in a game together.
Right, the bulk of this team played against the Silver Bullets last year. They have added on some local celebrities, some television personalities, and I know the Bullets are not happy about that. They think it's kind of disrespectful and unnecessary.
Hey, Mark McCallum looks like Corey Pavin, the golfer. You take a look at him, and that's a shot up the middle under the glove of Michelle McInerney. Here comes David Ross. He will score standing up. There goes McCallum in the second, and he is out. So McCallum gets the RBI, but the Silver Bullets will get out number one on a healthy throw in the second base.
Did a nice job. It looked like Pam may have had it, McInerney may have had it, Bratz bobbles it. But in fact, this may turn out to be a good thing because being overconfident, he goes past the bag. Shannon on the ball, tags him out at second base.
That is out at number one for the Carolina Bombers, and that'll bring up Teddy Hefner.
Hefner is the manager of this team. He says they're not used to using wood. In fact, they've always played with metal. I think that's the biggest detriment here. That was a heck of a cut right there.
I think his big detriment there was taking his eye off the ball.
Now Hefner says he's a high ball hitter and he's an off-speed hitter.
Shot to Michelle McInerney. She can't get a hold of it. It goes through her legs for an error.
I'm not sure exactly what's going on here with the Bullets. They don't look composed. This is out of the ordinary for them. Defense, they're usually very, very strong. Their fundamentals are better than almost any team they face. I would guess that when they get into the dugout, there's going to be some kind of conversation, some kind of speech.
That is the sixth error on the year for the traditionally stable Michelle McInerney. And it looks like she would just picked her eye off it at the last minute, Julie.
Yeah, that really is out of character for Michelle McInerney. She is as solid as they come.
So Teddy Hefner is aboard at first on the McInerney error. And the Silver Bullets find themselves behind the 8 ball early on. They trail 1-0. Denny Rame doing the cleanup hitting for the Carolina Bombers. Rame, 6'2", 227 pounds. Played at Erskine College. Now a sales representative.
Rame was the starting pitcher last year, and he admitted to being nervous. In fact, he had quite a few wild pitches and hit by batters. I think it's significant that these guys are much less nervous this year because they have played in front of a crowd like this. They have faced the Silver Bullets before. The fear of losing is not as extreme as it may have been last year.
That game last year, the Bombers won 7-4 after they trailed 4-0. They came back, clawed their way back into the game, and won 7-4. 2-1 now to Danny Rame.
Now Rame is hitting .391, and he has 4 walks and 5 RBIs.
swinging a long fly ball out of the ballpark. A long strike 2.
I was speaking with Joe on the way over here, and he said they really have a lot of confidence in Davis. Generally, her first inning, her first outing is not a good one, but she always comes back. She's a real solid, strong pitcher. In fact, she tends towards her wild pitches early in her starts or early in her appearances. She's had 3 wild pitches and 5 hits batsmen, all of which have been in that first inning.
Yeah, you hope she gets that out of her system. And we had mentioned she's converted from the bullpen out of necessity and injury. And Joe Niekro said, I really think Pam is getting used to coming in. She's got that pitcher's mentality of starting a game and getting right in the flow. And you take a look at the opponent's batting average, 275 against the Silver Bullets. Shot to left field. A long, long fly. That's going to go off the fence. Carrie Kropke's going to get it on a bounce, but that will store a motoring Teddy Hefner. And Danny Rame will come in with a stand-up double. So the error proves costly for the Silver Bullets as Rame gets the 2nd RBI of the game.
Well, Rame does a nice job right here. Good clean cut. Looked like he pulled around it a little bit. Looks like he's jogging there. Kropke did not get a good read on it. It's over her head. She has to play it off the wall. Find it, play it off the wall, excuse me, and get it into Shannon Mitchum, who bobbles the ball again. I don't know what's going on down there. Everyone appears a little edgy.
And the Silver Bullets will tell you they cannot afford to make those errors. Offense has been their Achilles heel. They're just starting to get in the flow. So defensively, they've got to make the plays and hold them down.
Well, defensively, the team has played very well. Their fielding percentage as a team is .959.
Dwight Robinson, swing on a first pitch. Robinson, 6 foot, 190 pounds, played at Middle Tennessee State. He's another one that had seen some minor league action. Played for the New York Mets minor league team, and that very well is the Capital City Bombers. Also had some time in St. Lucia, Florida, and I even played AAA ball in Norfolk for a couple of weeks. I think they've got some ringers on this Bombers team, Julie.
Well, as with every team the Silver Bullets plays, it's billed as an over 30 team. They bring in a couple guys who are not 30, who have played professional ball, like the starting pitcher, who is a replacement player for the Braves, guys who had AAA experience. They have ringers in every team, usually pitchers, catchers, shortstops, or center fielders.
2-1. Now to Dwight Robinson. And Pam Davis struggling with her control here in the first inning.
You see Davis taking her time, and I spoke with her earlier and asked her, how can we tell what your mood is like? How can we tell what you're doing? She said, when I'm slow, when I'm walking around the mound, I'm flustered. Nice job keeping him honest there.
Davis very emotional, according to her teammates. The infielders normally have to talk to her to keep her up, and she says she likes that when her fielders talk to her. Keep her motivated. It keeps the infielders in the game, like Michelle McEnany at second, Shannon Mitchum at shortstop. There's a shot to center field. Kim Bratz back by the warning track. She'll glove it. And Rame will move up to third. 2 down now for the Bombers, and that will bring up Mark Connerly. Even the outs are long for the Carolina Bombers.
It looked like Kim Bratz's first step was in, but she did a good job compensating. She finds the ball, notice she keeps her glove down until she's right under the ball. She does a good job extending and using her whole body to get that ball in. She's got the best arm in the outfield.
So Danny Rame moves up to third base, and that will bring up Mark Connerly. Davis hoping she can get out of this inning with just 2 runs, as it started off bad and got worse. David Ross led off with a double. He scored on a Mark McCallum RBI single. Teddy Hefner hit it to second, McEnany with the error. Danny Rame had the RBI double to left. Another long fly ball, but that is foul out of the ballpark. These guys will tell you they're making the adjustments with wooden bats, but they are just pounding this baseball.
They are certainly not having a problem hitting the ball today.
You are correct. 2-3 and 2 for the Bombers. 0-0-1.
Connerly playing left field tonight for the Bombers. Inside. Now, Julie, usually Elizabeth Burnham does the catching for the Silver Bullets. She has had some back problems, has been out a couple of games. How much will it influence Pam Davis's pitching to pitch to Missy Kress?
Actually, I spoke with both Pam Davis and Missy Kress, and they're both ecstatic to find out that they were the battery. They really enjoy pitching and catching each other, and they feel very comfortable. They said they have that bond, that certain bond that pitchers and catchers get. Davis says she feels very comfortable throwing low to Kress. She frames the ball well, and she sets up on the corners well.
Kress, nice job of blocking the ball now. 2-2 to Mark Connerly. 2 outs. Pam Davis trying to work out of it. This is Mitchell. Ivy gloves it for out number 3. But the damage is done to Pam Davis and company. They give up 2 runs as the Bombers lead as we move to the top of the second, 2-0. We're back in Columbia, South Carolina, Capital City Stadium for Silver Bullets baseball. Already the Silver Bullets behind the 8 ball. They trail the Bombers 2-0 in the top of the second.
Mascot getting down there.
Carolina Bombers, a big fan favorite. Capital City Bombers draw a lot of fans to their ballpark here. They sell a tremendous amount of paraphernalia. They're in the top 25 in the minor leagues in selling memorabilia and paraphernalia.
That mouse had a bit of rhythm there. Not common for mice, I don't think.
Leading off the second inning for the Colorado Silver Bullets, Kim Bratz batting 179, and her bat has come alive of late. She'll tell you she feels better at the plate, Julie.
I love to watch Kim Bratz hit the ball. She has incredible bat speed, a nice, big, true baseball cut. She's a smart hitter. She's always really figuring her pitchers. And she'll tell you that she prefers to hit off a guy like Clemens. She'd prefer to face someone who has that minor league, major league talent, as opposed to someone who just tosses the ball or throws the ball.
She's behind in the count now to Mark Clemens, 0-2. And Clemens mixing up his pitches. He's got a repertoire of about 4 pitches, including that 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, Bratz is in good shape as far as there not being anyone on the base. She hits 270 with the bases empty, as opposed to 98 with runners on.
And they have her batting number 4. Fouled off. Count stays at 1-2. Bratz comes from a family of athletes. Her sister Leah played for the University of Arizona. 2-time, 3-time national champions. They lost this year in the softball championship to UCLA. Kim Bratz, a tremendous attitude. I talked to her this morning, and she said she is just happy to be playing. She had a herniated disc last year, spent a month on her back, missed the second half of the season, so she said this is all new to her.
I was Kim Bratz's roommate last year when she was sent to the doctor when they said you have to have surgery, you can't play anymore. And although every player's career ends at some point, she handled it with incredible grace. It was like she knew she was going to be back. She is having a great at-bat here.
Perseverance in life, perseverance at the plate. Counts 2-2 to Kim Bratz.
Bratz is one of 2 players that have been in every game. Bratz and Michelle McInerney. Bratz for her bat. It's a bat that you absolutely, positively must have in this lineup.
Was the second team All-American at the University of New Mexico, that in softball. Outside now, and Kim Bratz has worked a full count against Mark Clemens. Silver Bullets trying to rebound from that 2-run first inning by the Bombers. Swinging, strike 3.
Well, she certainly got her money's worth.
Mark Clemens claims his 3rd strikeout victim. Boy, when he unwinds, he is just throwing smoke up there, and that was a fastball all the way.
That was pure petro. Here we see it again. You can see he's holding the fastball. Great mechanics. Great swing. I mean, she certainly got her money's worth. Looks like she was just a little bit off.
And even in slow motion, that looks 70 miles per hour. Carrie Kropke steps in. Carrie's got 4 hits on the season, and she is another one who is starting to come around with the bat, and that is why Phil Niekro has inserted her at the number 5 spot.
Well, Carrie Kropke has a lot of potential for power. She is a power hitter, and in fact, if she gave up a little of that power, she may hit for a higher average. But I don't think Phil wants her to do that. He wants her to come in and turn those outfielders around.
Roscoe still gloves it for out number 2.
Now, Carrie does not go the other way very much. That was a rare occurrence.
And a credit to that man, Mark Clemens, who is hitting his corners very well, working it inside and outside. Tamara Ivy, first baseman, batting .117. She's got 17 hits, and she had a couple of hits in the loss at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, but she says she's also made a couple of adjustments at the plate to feel a little bit better.
You're right. Ivy went 2 for 3 in Atlanta, and I was speaking with Johnny Grubb, and he said he likes for his players, if it's not broke, don't fix it. He likes his players to adjust themselves. Ivy did this by bringing her hands down a little bit.
And she said she closed her stance a little bit, and she read a little bit about the game of hitting, the mental aspect, and she says she's cleared her mind a little bit. She was thinking too much.
Well, it looks like she might be thinking again. He really fooled her on that off-speed pitch.
She is in a pickle. 0-2 now. 2 away here in the second inning for the Colorado Silver Bullets. And that is strike 3 all the way. Tamara Ivy, the 4th strikeout victim for Mark Clemens. We move to the bottom of the second. The Bombers lead 2-0. And there is no mousing around here at Capital City Stadium. They are yucking it up at the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network. Thanks for joining us here on your regional sports station. Everybody getting into the YMCA. A nice crowd out here in Columbia, South Carolina, as the Colorado Silver Bullets taking on the Carolina Bombers.
Carolinians can dance.
And as you see, they have a pretty good crowd here. They draw crowds of in excess of 6,000. At Coors Field, they had better than 11,000. And this team continues their torrid pace of traveling across the country in the Colorado Silver Bullets. This is their 23rd city, different city, and they will ultimately hit 30 of the 50 states in the United States.
They are at a point in the season where the travel is not fun anymore. All the hotels look the same. All the cities are a blur.
Catcher Chris Boyle will lead off the second inning for the Carolina Bombers. One note we did want to mention, Shannon Mitchum has moved into shortstop. Initially, Tony Heisler was slated there for the Colorado Silver Bullets. She had complained of fatigue, and there you see Mitchum, who will play shortstop, and she will bat from the number 8 spot. Pop up down the third baseline. Stacey Sunny looking for room, but it is just inside the dugout.
I don't think she wanted another injury. I don't think she was wanted to take a chance on slamming into the dugout or into the wall. Not at her rate. Stacey has had a very difficult season. She's the kind of player that unless she's dragged off the field or literally taken off the field like she was earlier in the season in a stretcher, she won't come off.
And what does that say when she's a producer for Rescue 911?
She may have put some kind of hex on herself. Or they put it on her for leaving.
2-1 now, the count to Chris Boyle. See if Pam Davis has shaken away some of the butterflies here in the second inning, as she has allowed 2 runs in the first inning on 3 hits.
Now, Boyle played at South Carolina in 1977 through 1980.
And the Gamecocks' all-time RBI leader has a single to lead off the second inning for the Bombers.
That was a sweet hit.
So Pam Davis once again allows the leadoff hitter on with a healthy shot. Chris Boyle to lead it off, and now Roscoe Still steps in.
Now, Davis has really progressed as the season has gone on. She's showing more confidence and, in fact, a lot more independence.
Roscoe Still, 6'2", 215 pounds, played at Erskine College, now a sales representative.
Now, when I spoke with Teddy Hefner, the manager for the Carolina Bombers, he said they're not gonna hit and run. He doesn't like hit and running. He may bunt and run, and they will steal.
What do you expect from a 43-year-old manager? He doesn't want to hit and run.
Not with his speed. He admits to not having very good speed. Now Davis knows Kress has a good arm, an accurate arm, but she's not the strongest defensive pitcher in that sense. So she knows she's going to have to keep this runner very close to give Kress every edge if he does go.
And Pam Davis has become very deliberate in her delivery, and there you see her numbers. A tough first inning for Pam Davis.
Now Davis's arsenal is composed of a fastball, which she says in its mid-70s, a change, a slider, and a curve. She says her change is not really her best pitch. She uses it just to add to her arsenal, and in fact, just to let the batter know that she has it.
Joe Niekro will tell you her curve has really become a little bit more sharp as the season has progressed. The rotation has become crisper. The break has become cleaner. Signs of a lot of progression for Pam Davis. A fly out to right field. Pam Shafrat's going to give it a run, but it is over her head. Extra bases for Roscoe Still. In comes Chris Boyle, and the Carolina Bombers lead 3-0 in the second inning.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, Phil has put Pam in the lineup for offensive purposes. As an outfielder, she's a good outfielder, but she does not have a lot of speed. She's not an experienced outfielder, and it was evident right there. She got a bad jump on the ball. It looked like she turned the wrong way, and in fact had no idea where it was for about a second. By the time she picked it up, it was a clear double.
And here's the shot to right field, and Still got all of that ball and some.
You can see her breaking in, and then in fact she turns around. Here's where she loses the ball and cuts back the other way to get the ball. She's got a strong arm. She said it's a little sore from moving in to the infield and back out to the outfield because they're much different throws. As you know, in the infield it's a lot shorter and quicker. In the outfield you really extend and use your whole body a lot more.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Pam was taking infield before the game until manager Phil Niekro said, Pam, outfield. And so she quickly made the adjustment. Mark Clemens steps in to help out his cause. Ground to third. Stacy Sonny makes the throw for out number one.
The crowd likes that.
So one away here in the bottom of the second. Stacy Sonny, who has been a fixture at third base, she has made some spectacular diving plays and makes the very difficult look routine.
RBI time, double two.
There's no doubt that Stacy is an impact player. In fact, I think if an infielder were to get the call up, it would be her. I think she could play Double-A defensively with any team.
David Ross steps up to the plate. He had a double to lead off the game for the Bombers, and he scored the first run. So see if Pam Davis makes an adjustment on Ross on this at bat. Swing and a miss.
That was a nice pitch.
Still coming into the game with 3 home runs, batting .344. The dimensions: 330 down the line, the left field line, 320 down the right field line, and 395 to dead center. Capital City Stadium, home of the minor league Capital City Bombers. As there's a grounder, Shannon Mitchum. Sonny goes to cut it off, and David Ross will be safe with an infield single.
You know, there's really not much you can do in that situation. That, unfortunately, is a fluke of baseball. It's a base hit most of the time. As you can see, Ross really kind of gets on top of it and pulls his hands in. Mitchum can't get in. Sonny comes across, and they do not have anywhere near enough time to make the play at first.
Grass infield.
Clemens, a wise runner, did advance to third, knowing that Sonny would cross over. That was a smart base running move on his part.
And pitching coach Joe Niekro is out there trying to calm Pam Davis down a little bit, talking to his battery of Missy Kress and Pam Davis. Joe Niekro and Phil Niekro, the winningest brother combination, pitching-wise. You know, Phil pitched way into his 40s. Joe pitched for the Astros. Warming up in the bullpen for the Colorado Silver Bullets, Billy Joe Sharpe. Her last outing was July 10th, just 2 days ago. So some early action here in the second inning for the Colorado Silver Bullets.
I know Pam Davis is a little bit nervous today, not only because it's a televised broadcast, but also because it's the first time that her mother has seen her play.
Shot on the right field side. Tamara Ivy can't get a glove on it, and that's going to score Roscoe Still. And they're going to rule that a hit, of course, because there was no glove on it by Ivy. And Mark McCallum gets his second single of the evening.
It looks like Ivy does what she can here. It's a hard ball to field as a first baseman. In general, you want your second baseman to come over and take that pop-up, or your your right fielder to come in. She did what she could. It's a lot better if she takes her first step on her glove side directly back so she has a better angle, but you got to give her credit. That's a very hard ball to play.
So the Carolina Bombers have moved ahead now 4-0 in the bottom of the second, and Teddy Hefner comes to the plate looking for his first hit in this game. Nice mixed speed by Pam Davis. Strike one.
Well, that's interesting since Hefner himself said off-speed pitches were his strength. So maybe Davis has something he's never seen before.
Hefner second on the team in RBIs with 13. He's got 2 ducks on the pond. David Ross at second and Mark McCallum at first. In the dirt. Crest going to give chase, but both runners will move up.
Now we're waiting to hear if that's a wild pitch or a pass ball. And they are saying pass ball.
So pass ball. David Ross moves up to third. Mark McCallum now up to second. Both runners in scoring position for the left-handed hitting Teddy Hefner. A lot of breeze. 1-2 now for the 43-year-old Hefner. He's a freelance writer in the Carolina area.
He's been writing for 20 years, Tracy, and in fact he has his own radio show called Talking Sports.
Strike 3 as Pam Davis gets her first strikeout of the game, and boy, that is a load off the back of Pam Davis.
As we can see, Davis is still taking her time. And here is the strikeout pitch. Nice job outside. He's just had his whole body in that, not his eyes, however.
So now it's
strike 3.
2 down, and Danny Rame comes in looking for his second hit. Hit an RBI double, long double to the left field fence in the first inning.
As I had mentioned earlier, this is the first time that Pam Davis's mother, Aggie, has seen her pitch on television. She cannot come to any of the games, so she's confined to a wheelchair. So I know that Pam really wants to do a good job for her and say hello to her mother. Since they don't get to see family very often, this is the only way they can communicate with their families, is through us.
1-1 now to Rame. Shot up on the left side of the field. Mitchum's calling for it. She's underneath it and gloves it for out number 3. So the Bombers push across 2 more runs as they lead the Silver Bullets 4-0. You're watching Colorado Silver Bullet Baseball on your regional sports network. We move to the top of the third inning in Columbia, South Carolina. The South Carolina Bombers lead the Silver Bullets 4-0. Colorado Silver Bullets coming your way on television. Here's the next 3 games. They take on the Kalamazoo Yankees on July 26th in Battle Creek, Michigan. August 3rd, it's Reno Diamonds in Reno, Nevada, and then San Joaquin Ports in Stockton, California on August 10th. Check your local listings for all your Colorado Silver Bullets baseball. Kara Kogenhauer leads it off for the Silver Bullets in the third inning. Kogenhauer, a big strike 1.
That ball looked like it was high and inside, and Kara will tell you, she'll be the first to tell you, in fact, that her biggest flaw as a hitter is that she swings at bad pitches and lets the good ones go by. Now, a smart pitcher, and I imagine Clemens is a very smart pitcher, if he sees you swing at something an inch off the plate, will throw another pitch 2 inches off the plate.
Well, this should be the final inning for Clemens, as they had said he would only pitch 3. Kogenhauer ground out to Roscoe Still. He gloves it for out number 1.
Now, I'm not really sure what's going on with the Bullets. They're not playing as well as they usually do today. My guess would be that mentally they're fine, but physically they are just exhausted. The travel really bears down on you. It takes its toll. The 5 a.m. flights, the 5-hour bus rides, the never getting to sleep in your bed, you know, or eat a home-cooked meal, eating pizzas at midnight. It takes its toll on your body.
Now, here's case in point. Shannon Mitchum has stepped in as a last-minute replacement for Tony Heisler. Heisler is out with fatigue. Mitchum was out with fatigue the game before in Atlanta, Georgia. So these girls suffer from heat exhaustion, fatigue, and just as you had mentioned, Julie, the travel weariness that this season so often invokes in these players.
Shannon was telling me that she was so tired and so exhausted when they were in Atlanta. In the 5th inning, she was humming to herself to be able to stay standing. She was so exhausted through the inning before she could get them to take her out. She was praying that they wouldn't hit the ball to her.
2-1 on right-handed hitting Shannon Mitchum.
Now Mitchum is hitting .226, and she's the 2nd highest on the Bullets. She's 2 for 3 with stolen bases, and has been hit by pitches 3 times this year.
Big swing, strike 2. Full count now to Shannon Mitchum. Speaking of the Mets and the minor league system, which we are in the ballpark of the minor league team for the Mets, Shannon Mitchum tried out for the replacement Mets. And she takes a look at strike 3. You got to protect up there when Mark Clemens comes in humming them down, and that is out number 2.
See again, fastball every time. Right down the middle. I don't know what. She must have just been frozen. Sometimes it happens. Your body is not on the same page as your mind.
Missy Kress steps in to face Mark Clemens. That is the 5th strikeout victim for Mark Clemens and the 8th consecutive out. So Mark Clemens is making quick work of the Colorado Silver Bullets.
Now, because of Elizabeth Burnham's injury, Missy Kress and Shannon Kimberling have been getting a lot more playing time. I think that Missy Kress is the kind of player who doesn't quite realize how good she is yet. She was an outstanding softball player and is taking her time really to become a great baseball player.
The numbers on the man who says he can still play professional baseball. Lots of zeros on the board. Now has run a 1-2 count to Missy Kress. Silver Bullets still looking for their first hit. Bullets coming off a 6-1 loss against the Georgia Tech Gold Jackets. Leanne Ketchum was the pitcher, and she had gotten the loss there. She cannot get a break this season. She has been the ace of the staff, but every time she gets on the mound, the Bullets seem to run cold. And there Missy Kress runs cold, the 6th strikeout victim for Mark Clemens. The Bombers still lead as we move into the bottom of the 3rd, 4-0. We move to the bottom of the 3rd, where the Carolina Bombers are leading the Silver Bullets 4-0 on 7 hits. And very rarely do the Silver Bullets come out chicken. As a matter of fact, they don't seem to be afraid of anybody. The only guy playing chicken in this ballpark is a man in that suit.
How many mascots do they have here tonight? What's going on?
Capital City Bombers have won awards in their marketing and promotions department for keeping the masses very, very entertained during baseball games. And you can see it's been a very healthy turnout here for the Colorado Silver Bullets. Came to Columbia, South Carolina last year, had a great showing from the fans, and they are back for more support this season. Dwight Robinson will lead it off in the 3rd inning for the Bombers. Robinson, as we had mentioned, had seen time in the minor leagues with the Mets. He was a South Atlantic League All-Star in 1993, led the league in fielding, and as we had mentioned, moved up to AAA for about 2 weeks, but he said he got tired of roving around the minor leagues. and he decided to get out, got a great job off her, and this is the first time he's picked a bat up in about 5 or 6 months.
Actually, I talked to Robinson earlier, and he said that he drove in from Charleston this morning for this game. Now that's not a surprise. Davis usually starts her left-handers away, outside corner. So what she's doing probably is setting up her slider inside.
Davis stays on the mound, giving up 7 hits, 4 runs. And this is about the time you see her get into her groove. A high chopper to Michelle McInerney. She'll have to hurry. Flips it over to Tamara Ivy and gets out number 1. And that is the first time Pam Davis has retired the leadoff batter so far in this game.
I was speaking with Davis's pitching coach and Jerry Reed with the Seattle Mariners. He said that Davis really has a God-given talent. Here's the replay. I'm sorry. Nice job. Nice stiff wrist. Good underhand flip. Ivy steps back at the bag, but it works.
Mark Connerly, the left fielder, looking for his first hit. He ground out to shortstop in the first inning. Check out these uniforms from these Columbia Bombers.
These uniforms were modeled to look like the 1956-57 Columbia Reds and Gems of the South Atlantic League. The legitimate Bombers wear these every Friday night to pay tribute to the Columbia's rich baseball history. In fact, Columbia has had professional baseball for over 100 years. Their first team was in 1892.
Jeez, I hope these uniforms are breathable because it is hot. You know, a lot of the old teams used to use flannel. I'm hoping these are cotton because they're going to be sweating up a storm if they are made of the same fabric of the old unis.
Well, I'll tell you, on a night like this, any uniform is hot.
3-1 now to Mark Connerly.
I think they're nice looking, though. Personally, I like the old-time uniforms.
Davis, the 20-year-older, going up against Connerly, the 32-year-older. That looked good for strike 2. Home plate umpire Wes Bickley doing a fine job calling the balls and strikes.
He has done a nice job, and I may add, the only time we really notice umpires is when they don't do a good job.
Shot out to left field. Carrie Kropke has a beat on it. That's going to drop for extra bases for Mark Connerly.
And we see all the outfielders wearing their Oakleys, so my guess is, and they haven't appeared to be getting the greatest jump on the ball, my guess is there's something going on with the lighting out there. Kropke, who is notorious for getting an outstanding jump on the ball, looks like she comes in, she doesn't really move until the ball is over the infield. It's over her head, does what she can off the wall, as in earlier in the game, bobbles it, gets it in.
Well, Julie, it looked like with the sound of the bat, she was guessing. Her first step was up, and then she recovered and realized she had to motor back to catch up.
Well, we saw her right there holding her hand up almost to block some kind of glare. So I think we're right.
Shot down the third base line. That's going to be extra bases for Chris Boyle. Here comes Mark Connerly. He'll score. And there goes Boyle into second with a stand-up double. So the Bombers have now moved ahead here in the third inning, 5-0 on the RBI double by Chris Boyle.
This has certainly not been a good night for Davis. Kress is walking out to her. They're having a conference on the mound. As I mentioned earlier, she feels very comfortable with Kress. Maybe Kress has some kind of insight for her.
And maybe she's just stalling for time in order for the bullpen to get warmed up.
That is probably true. We see Davis looking to the bullpen. And there we see B.J. Charpy.
Yeah, the Bombers really getting around on Davis. Those are 2 hard shots, one out to Carrie Kropke in left field and one down the line, just out of the reach of Stacy Sonny. And Pam Davis, as you had mentioned, Julie, maybe it's the heat, and she's working at a very deliberate pace, so really gotten behind these batters today.
I know she really wanted to have a good game today, and I know sometimes as an athlete, when you want that good game, you want it so much, you press, that you inevitably do not have it. Davis is a very impressive person, though. She has great character, and she is a fierce competitor.
Roscoe Still has an RBI double in this game. That is shot out to center field. Kim Bratz gets underneath of it, but that's going to push it home. Chris Boyle, and Roscoe Still gets his second RBI of the game. This a single.
A story that might give you some kind of insight as to Pam's character. She was hit earlier in the season in the eye with a line drive, and as they were taking her away in the ambulance, I'm sorry, here's the replay. Great extension. He had great torque on that ball. What a hitter, to be honest. Bratz, good speed despite her back injury, comes up throwing. She's got an outstanding arm, very accurate, very hard. We see here, we see Phil on the mound, which means Davis is done. Anyway, to complete my story, they're taking her away in the ambulance, and the EMT is announcing that they have a ball player who was hit in the eye with a pop-up. And she can't say anything because she has oxygen over her mouth, and she's strapped to a board. But she's signaling to Stacy Sunny with her hand, jutting her hand forward, that it was not a pop-up, that it was a line drive, that she would never have gotten hit in the eye with a pop-up.
Well, a pitching change has come forth for the Colorado Silver Bullets. Pam Davis will leave the game after giving up 6 runs on 10 hits, 1 Silver Bullet error, and Billy Joe Charpy will come in relief. We're going to take a break. We're coming back. Silver Bullets trail 6-0. We want to welcome KBL Prime Sports Channel in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Welcome to Columbia, South Carolina at Capital City Stadium, where the Colorado Silver Bullets are taking on the Carolina Bombers. The Silver Bullets have gone behind the 8 ball early on behind the pitching of Pam Davis. Davis has allowed 6 runs on 10 hits. There's been 1 Silver Bullet error, and already a pitching change has come about for the Silver Bullets. Billy Joe Charpy steps in. The righty from Charleston, South Carolina, so she's got a lot of family and friends in this area. Comes in with a 1.42 ERA, and her last appearance was just a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, where she pitched 1.2 innings, gave up a hit, 0 runs, 0 earned runs, and a base on balls.
Now, BJ Charpy was called Smiley for at least the first 2 weeks of spring training because she didn't say a word. She just sat there and smiled. She's as quiet as they come.
She will come on in relief. Roscoe Still is at first. That is the responsibility of Pam Davis, and the first batter she'll face is the opposing pitcher, Mark Clemens. There you see Still. He had the RBI single to center field. Clemens 0 for 1. A ground out to third base. Charpy would love a double play ball here.
Now, Clemens was drafted in the 18th round by the Twins, and that's how he, in fact, began his professional career. When I spoke with his teammates, they said he's a class act.
And he said he wanted some stability after floating around the minor leagues for as many as 6 years. Billy Joe Charpy now 2-1 to Mark Clemens.
Now, Hefner debated over whether or not to use a DH, and he, I guess, decided that his pitchers are good hitters, and he was going to let them hit tonight. And for a good reason.
And that's going to fall in for a single. So pitcher Mark Clemens gets his first hit of the game.
Now, Charpy had a pinched nerve in her elbow for the beginning of the season, so she only is logging at 6.1 innings at this point, which is the fewest for the Silver Bullets.
Take a look at the nice swing for a pitcher for Mark Clemens.
Did a real nice job using his legs right there. I think that's where he generated the power.
And you've got to wonder, Julie, the longer the defense is out there, the hotter they become in this weather, the more they become fatigued. So the pitchers really got to bear down now.
Yeah, the pitchers do have to bear the slack for their defense, and frankly, the defense does not look very good tonight.
Charpy's got a fastball and a curve. Also use a changeup. That is outside now. 1-1 to David Ross. Ross 2 for 2, as you see. Double, run scored, and a single. This would be a big out for Billy Joe Charpy. Shot, pop up to right field. Pam Shafrath positioning. She gloves it for out out number 2. And on the out, Roscoe still moves up to third base. 2 away now.
Ross did a nice job holding onto that curveball. Pam Shafrath danced a little bit out there, but she got the job done, and she got the ball into her cutoff, and that's all she can do.
And this is the first time in the ballpark for many of these athletes. We had mentioned these 2 teams played last year, with the Bombers winning 7-4 after they were trailing 4-0.
Well, the Bullets certainly have their work cut out tonight if they're going to pull this one out.
The Corey Pavin lookalike, Mark McCallum, steps in. He also is 2 for 2 on the day. And we've also been told he looks like Phil Garner. Take your pick. Charpy trying to get out of the inning in relief of Davis. Outside, 2-0 to McCallum. Charpy went to Baptist College, graduated in 1990. She led her softball team in batting average and slugging percentage. She was also named All-State in this very fine state of South Carolina. Popped up. Missy Kress has a beat on it. She's going to glove it for out number 3. So Billy Joe Charpy comes in, allows a hit, but shuts them down. We're moving to the top of the 4th. The Bombers lead 6-0. You gotta shake it if you got it here at Capital City Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. The Silver Bullets gotta do some shaking. They trail the Carolina Bombers 6-0.
They've got a great crowd here tonight, and even despite the score, which is not a good one, the crowd is behind the Bullets all the way. You can hear them cheering for every good thing they do.
Well, after 3 perfect innings from Mark Clemens, he will be retired, and in comes James Day. Day, a 5'8", 190-pounder. Is a state trooper here in the state of South Carolina. Played some college ball at the University of South Carolina, Aiken.
Now, Day is a finesse pitcher. He said he throws 80 at the most. His key is location, keeping the ball down, and lots of off-speed. Looks like we have yet another mascot here. And they're all dancing mascots.
Michelle McEnany set to lead it off.
Michelle McEnany knows her strike zone. She makes good contact. She's a smart hitter, and frankly, she knows how to wait for her pitch.
As ball 1 to the 5'1" Michelle McEnany. The pitcher Mark Clemens will stay in the ballgame. He'll play left field. That is the shot you saw previously. As James Day pitches ball 2 to Michelle McEnany.
Michelle McEnany is the oldest Silver Bullet. She's 31 years old. She's also the shortest at 5 foot.
And she makes no pretense of saying she wants to be the first woman to coach the Colorado Silver Bullets. She said she's going to stay with the team as long as she can. And she's told Phil and Joe that she'd like to coach someday. So inning by inning, she goes over the same moves that perhaps a manager or coach would make in the game. That is the first walk given up by the Carolina Bombers. Michelle McEnany picks up her 29th free pass.
That puts her only 3 walks away from her all-time record and the team record of last year. McEnany asked me to say hello to her family who's watching in California because she hasn't seen them since March.
And Michelle McEnany comes from a family of athletes. Her dad, her brother Jim, played professionally. Her cousin also is in the Montreal Expos AAA organization. Stacey Sonny, the leading hitter for the Colorado Silver Bullets, looking for her first hit in the Colorado Silver Bullets' first hit.
Sonny, a solid addition to this club. She hits .333 against lefties.
Two and one now to Stacey Sonny. Stacey Sonny earned all softball team of the decade. She played some college ball at the University of Nebraska as a catcher. Also played at UCLA as a catcher. Tremendous hitter. Popped pumped up in the infield. Underneath of it is the third baseman, Dwight Robinson, and he gloves it for out number 1. So that is a big out for James Day as he gets the Silver Bullets leading hitter, Stacey Sonny, to pop up to the infield.
Now, Day pitched against us last year, and in fact, he came out right as the team had taken the lead. And he told me today that he was so happy when he came out because he said, they can't give me the loss now no matter what happens. And that was really what he was concerned about.
Pam Shafrath. A 175 hitter. She has got a lot of power. We've seen her hit the gaps, and that's nothing more than manager Phil Niekro would enjoy, is when the Silver Bullets pop it over the heads of an outfield who is playing very, very close in, that doesn't really respect the power of the Silver Bullets.
And I was just looking at Pam Shafrath's expression, and she seems very anxious. She seems very wound up or excited, which is not like her. So I'm wondering what exactly is going through her mind. She seems kind of pumped. And usually she's very calm at the plate. There's a lot of motion, a lot more motion than usual.
Well, this is a 24th game, the 24th different city, and they've been a lot of different states. The travel going on, the heat of probability here. And certainly, as manager Phil Niekro tries to find a lineup that can consistently perform at the plate all the time, Pam Shafrath has kind of been in and out of the lineup. She doesn't know where her place is in the field or in the lineup, so she's got to have that mental preparedness that a lot of these sometimes platoon players get.
Today's starters, wow, that's quite an impressive stat, are 19 for 27 this season for stolen bases. Yes, I agree with you, Tracy.
Big swing, strike 3.
She's done a real nice job. She's a team player by definition. Her problem, and we saw it in that at-bat, is that she can't get on top of that high pitch. We saw her foul off the high pitch and let the low pitch go.
So that is the first strikeout victim for James Day, and the second out on the inning. Kim Bratz, the graduate of New Mexico. Swing, strike 1, and James Day getting ahead of these Silver Bullets.
I was in the dugout earlier, and I noticed that the Silver Bullets got new bats, which I know they're very happy about. They have smaller bats. They're 32-inch. They're also signature bats, which only major leaguers have.
Yeah,
so those are quite a collector's item.
Yeah, you say, give me my bat, it's got my name on it, because all these girls have their names on their bats.
Right. And it's funny because kids will come up to you after the game and they'll be like, can I have your bag? Can I have your bat? Can I have your glove? I mean, these things are great collector's items.
Well, can I have a hit, says Kim Bratz. She is 0-2 now in the count to James Day. Shot to third. Robinson, long throw. And the Silver Bullets are retired. So, no runs on no hits, no errors. One person left on. The Bombers lead 6-0. You're watching Colorado Silver Bullet Baseball on your regional sports network. To Columbia, South Carolina. You're at Capital City Stadium, a full crowd on hand to watch Colorado Silver Bullet baseball. The Silver Bullets are trailing the Carolina Bombers 6-0. Billy Joe Sharpie come on in relief for Pam Davis last inning. Didn't allow any runs, allowed a hit. And her first victim this inning, Teddy Hefner. Hefner, the 43-year-old, is 0 for 2 in this game.
I asked some of the Bullets how team morale was, because frankly they have not been winning a lot these days, and they said, you know, Julie, it's been better. You know, there's a little hurdle, we're not sure what it is, we need to get over it. We need to get over it in a hurry. It's like they get to the verge of winning, they're 1 run away, it's the bottom of the 9th, and they give it away.
Manager Phil Niekro says there is going to be more practice time for the Silver Bullets. He would give them days off on travel days, and he would give them time off on day of games, and he says that's all going to change. He says he knows the team has a lot of things it needs to work on, and it is just at that point where it's about to get over the hurdle.
Well, Tracy, it's a delicate balance because these women are beaten down by the travel. They are beaten down by being away from their families, from their friends, from their normal relations. And last year we practiced every day, even when we traveled, and I think that was too much, so they're trying to find a balance this year. And they may be going to the other side, which is not enough practice, just playing games.
56-year-old manager, Phil Niekro. And there is a single up the middle for Teddy Hefner.
Charpy looked her reaction looked a little slow on that, although that's definitely a tough play. That ball up the middle in general is a solid single base hit.
So Teddy Hefner is a leadoff base runner here in the bottom of the fourth. 43-year-old still shows he's got some pop in the bat.
One of the reasons the team may be a little slow today is they had a really long meeting before the game. They had, apparently the owners of a team called a meeting on nutrition and diet because some of the players are not in as good shape as they should be. And I feel for them. I really can empathize. It's hard to eat well. It's hard to take care of yourself on the road. They have to find a gym when they get into a town. They have to find a way to get there. And sometimes they have to pay.
Danny Rain in to face Billy Joe Charpy. Tell you, I often see a lot of these Colorado Silver Bullets at health clubs. Shannon Kimberling, one of the catchers, has been a permanent fixture at whatever health club. I talked to her this morning at 10 o'clock, and she already had her workout in.
There are a lot of Bullets, and I don't want to give you or the viewing audience the wrong impression, who work very hard and go out of their way to work out. Kimberling being one of them. She is actually crazy. I mean, she lifts 3 times a week, and on her off day, she's doing aerobic exercise of 1 hour or more.
Pedals more miles than in the Tour de France. A big shot by Danny Rain, and that is going to drop in for a single. So Charpy gives off back-to-back singles here in the bottom of the fourth, and the Bombers are mounting another threat.
That was a great single. You can't beat that. There's nothing you can do to defend that. Right between short and center. Short and third.
And that'll bring up Dwight Robinson. A man, as we had mentioned, is a very potent threat there. Played some time in the minor leagues. And at what point do you say, okay, you guys with minor league experience, we've got a 6-run lead. It's time to come out of the ball game.
Well, I think, as I said earlier, the Bullets would rather face this caliber player. They'd rather get beaten 10-0 and get beaten by good athletes.
McEnany, a nice stab, and she throws Dwight Robinson out for out number 1. That is the Michelle McEnany we have come to know. Quick feet, nice glove work, recovers in time to throw out Dwight Robinson.
Makes good contact right here. McEnany with Cal Ripken range, frankly. Nice stab, good accurate throw, even though she's off balance. She is solid, and I know that she wears her father's number and bears his nickname, and I know that she does him proud.
Cal Ripken range, does she have his consecutive game streak?
Well, you know, she's gonna have to play into her 40s, I think, to get that. But if anyone will do it, it's Mac. As you can see, the infield is up right here. They don't want to give any more. 6 is frankly enough.
And that is a pop-up. James Day pops it up to Michelle McEnany for out number 2. So James Day, the pitcher, came in to bat for Mark Connerly. And Billy Joe Charpy gets him to pop out to McEnany for the second out.
McEnany did a nice job right there. When you field pop-ups in the infield, what's real important is how you use your feet. Small, shuffle steps, move to the ball. Don't put your glove up until you're right underneath the ball.
The catcher, Chris Boyle, is 2 for 2. Michelle McEnany, Shannon Mitchum trying to keep the runner at second close. And that is Danny Rain.
As you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Tracy, Boyle was the all-time RBI leader for South Carolina. This is where he does his job the best. This is where he makes his money.
Yeah, just in the shadows of this stadium, you can see the football stadium for the South Carolina Gamecocks. And what a tough conference they compete in. Football is just around the corner. They're playing hardball here now. 2-0 to Chris Boyle.
Now, I'll give the Silver Bullet pitching staff credit, because what they do that is different than any other club is they do not face these batters all season long. If nothing else, they face them once, twice, the most 4 times in a game. What they have to do is they have to pick up that batter's weakness and take advantage of it. Most pitchers have a lot longer to read a batter and to find out what he does not do well and exploit that.
And many of the pitchers have told us they will watch batting practice of the opposing team, find out what the batters like to swing at, what their weakness is, and then pitch accordingly. Joe Negro, the pitching coach, is infamous for taking notes during batting practice for the other team.
Well, you do what you can, and that's all they can do.
2 outs, 2 men on, 2-1 the count.
Nice pitch.
And that is strike 2. So Charpy mixing up speeds here to get Chris Boyle off balance. Charpy trying to shut down Chris Boyle. Deuces are wild. Nice block by Missy Kress. You got to give Kress credit here in just her 6th start. Adjust to the pitchers well. Of course, she sees him and warms him up out in the bullpen, but Missy Kress doing a nice job behind the plate.
Kress has really evolved. She has really impressed me in the change from this year to last year. Last year she was a little more passive. This year she's an outstanding catcher.
They played with the Pittsburgh Pirates scout team, said she learned quite a bit. That is a shot down the line, but foul off the bat of Chris Boyle.
Kress was actually a player that they released into the season last year, and while other players kind of laid down and died and said, oh, you know, I'm not good enough, she worked her butt off, and it is so evident. She's got a great spirit, a jokester actually, very lighthearted, a good person to have on any club.
She is good friends with first baseman Tamara Ivy. Both tried out for the Pittsburgh Pirate, or worked with the Pittsburgh Pirate scout team.
Well, he's certainly making BJ throw tonight. He's getting as many pitches out of her as he possibly can.
And Billie Jo Charpy, and perhaps it's with her South Carolina roots, but she's got a long sleeve shirt on, continues to throw, and I'm not sure that she's broken much of a sweat here.
Well, there's no doubt that the crowd wants to see the team do well, and being a home team favorite, being a home team girl, or woman, I should say, they definitely want BJ to do well.
3-2, 2 outs, 2 men on. The payoff pitch outside, and the bases are now loaded for the Carolina Bombers.
But Tracy, you know, how much does that hurt you? You have an open base anyway. The score is 6-0. You got to shake that off, come back and get the next guy.
Well, the next guy is Roscoe Still. If the Bombers hold true to form, Roscoe Still is 2 for 2 with an RBI single, and he scored a run.
Now Still has 4 home runs this year. He says that right center is really his power alley, but that he will strike out a lot because he's got a big, long swing.
Is this a key of distraction over here?
Colorado Silver Bullets have just 2 pickoffs this year. Shannon Mitchum, rather Stacy Sonny, trying to keep the runner close at third.
Didn't look like she really came on, got over top that curveball right there.
Yeah, the
like she didn't snap it off.
Don't look crisp for either Pam Davis or Billie Jo Charpy. Usually when the Silver Bullets are on the ball, it's a lot lower. They're mixing their speeds up. The ball is hanging in this air, and the Bombers are all over those hanging pitches. 1-0 now to Roscoe Still. The bases are loaded here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, I know, Tracy, that last year there were games that, like, as a collective, everyone was burnt out, everyone was exhausted, no one played well, and it was almost as if all the environmental factors that we were talking about earlier hit everyone at the same time. And I'm going out on a limb here, but my guess would be that that's what's happening here tonight. These women are probably just beat. You know, I was talking to Stacey earlier. She said, I just love 3 days to go home and sleep, just to rest my bones.
Michelle McInerney told me she slept for 2 months at the end of last year. She was so tired.
I went home, put on my favorite t-shirt, ate a ho-ho, and probably slept for a week. My body was beat.
The ho-ho was key.
Actually, I probably ate a box of ho-hos, to be honest with you.
Ho-ho head.
Well, you know, nutrition, as an athlete, you try to stay disciplined.
But when you come home, you let it all hang out.
You let it all hang out. Cheeseburgers and ho-hos. Ouch, ouch.
And that is going to push a couple of runs across the plate. Here's the throw, but that is going to be late. And now the Bombers have taken an 8-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth. 2 RBIs on the single for Roscoe Still.
A nice job keeping his hands back, driving quickly. Bratz does a nice job, of course, as usual. She's as solid as they come. Coming up, hitting her cutoff. Ivy, it looks like, turned the wrong way for the cutoff home, but she may not have had a shot at him anyway.
That scores Teddy Hefner and Danny Rain. Chris Boyle moves up to second. Roscoe Still gets the single. And now Mark Clemens, who was the pitcher, now playing left field, steps in to face Billy Joe Charpy. This was the first batter Billy Joe faced, and Clemens had singled the left field in his at-bat against Charpy.
Well, while we're on the topic of ho-hos or bad diets, many of the Bullets have gained weight on the road. And the nutritional thing that they went through earlier is something to keep them from going overboard. And in fact, as you'll notice, as all athletes do, all athletes lie, they add an inch or two to their height to look a little taller. Most of these women take off about 5 pounds, which is very stereotypical for women, but not stereotypical for athletes. My guess would be the Carolina Bombers probably added about an inch and 10 pounds each.
Right now, the Colorado Silver Bullets need to add an out to get the third out. This is a shot to Mitchum. Mitchum has nowhere to go, and the bases are loaded, and Clemens gets the infield single.
That's a tough play for Mitchum. Anytime the shortstop goes over to her left, the angle to first or to second is off. He kind of came around that, pulled that outside pitch. You see Mitchum come around. Her balance is off. She's not throwing off her back foot, but her front foot, and it's just too late by the time she compensates to make the throw.
The bags are loaded. The Bombers lead 8-0, and we're still in the bottom of the fourth inning. David Ross, 2 for 3 in this very young game. Scored a run, had a double to lead off the game, and an infield single. Foul back. 1-1 to David Ross. Well, the mental game has been such a big part for the Colorado Silver Bullets in their off days. Bruce Crabb and Johnny Grubb give the women a lot of literature to read, the mental aspect of hitting. One of the women had read The Science of Hitting by Ted Williams. So physically, they're trying to keep sharp. Mentally, they're trying to stay crisp. But some things are just out of your control.
It's like you may have caught him sleeping right there.
That is Mark Clemens, the pitcher, on first. Clemens had a bout with an injury, rotator cuff injury, and Julie, I'm sure you know what that's all about.
Oh, I know too well what that's all about.
Julie Croteau played first base for the Colorado Silver Bullets last year, tore her rotator cuff at the beginning of this season, and we are lucky enough to have her up in the booth with us.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to sit up here and talk about what should be done than to be down there and consistently do it, so it's a good job. It's funny that you should bring up Ted Williams, because he says that hitting is the single most difficult thing to do in the sport. And he thinks it's because not only does it take natural ability, but mental alertness, finesse, and physical strength. And as we can see by the boards tonight, the physical strength has made a difference here.
The splendid splinter. A professor to everybody. 3-1 now to David Ross. Billy Joe Charpy in a pickle. Ball 4, and that will make it 9-0 for the Carolina Bombers.
And we see Joe making a trip out to the mound. I don't think that Charpy would be surprised that he's coming out. He left her in there a little longer than I would guess he would. My speculation is that this game is just out of reach. He's going to let her get some work in and practice working through these things, because you can't rush experience. And the only way these women are going to get experienced in getting through these tough situations are to stay in games like this.
And there's nobody warming up in the Silver Bullet bullpen. And perhaps there was a hex put on the Silver Bullet bullpen when manager Phil Niekro said to me in the dugout before the game, you know, we haven't gotten beaten by double figures yet this season.
I think I may be partially responsible for that hex too, talking about how lucky the Carolinas were for this team.
And there is going to be a gap rule. Well, actually, to our luck, Pam Shafrath is underneath and gloves it for out number 3. An ugly inning as the Bombers pull across 3 more. They lead 9-0 after 4. The 5th. Silver Bullets still looking for their first hit, still looking for their first run. They trail the Carolina Bombers 9-0. Colorado Silver Bullets coming up on television. That next game is Wednesday, July 26th. We are headed to the zoo. Kalamazoo Yankees in Battle Creek, Michigan. Check your local listings for Colorado's Silver Bullets baseball.
Well,
all kinds of fans here at the Capital City Stadium. Triple zeros for the Boomer as he's keeping the crowd entertained here. He is a hit as the Silver Bullets still looking for their first hit. Carrie Kropke set to lead it off here in the top of the 5th. Kropke studying to become an actress on the California coast. Swing, strike 1.
Now, Carrie Kropke, Krop as we call her, is an interesting story. Not only is she a professional athlete on the road, but her boyfriend, David Smith, is also a professional athlete. He's a professional tennis player. So their relationship, as you imagine, is pretty much through AT&T.
Reach out and touch someone. 1-1 now to Carrie Kropke.
Now, Kropke had been accepted to law school prior to the 1994 season, and she deferred and has deferred again this year. Nice big cut.
No objection to that. 1-2 now to Carrie Kropke.
Kropke was telling me a funny story about her last game in Atlanta. She said she held her hand up to call for time from the umpire, and he said, "You got it, sir." And she stepped out and said, "Sir." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm new at this."
There's a shot up the middle. Mark McCallum is going to glove it, and by a step, he gets Carrie Kropke. Well, the Silver Bullets a couple of steps from their first hit in this game, and it comes off the bat of Carrie Kropke.
It looked like she was a little slow out of the box, which may have hurt her, although he got her by a couple steps. Looks like she may have pushed him there, throwing her weight around a little bit. Throwing the shoulder.
Girl they call Bam Bam. Tamara Ivy steps in. Ivy struck out her first time up, and they call her Bam Bam if you look on her right shoulder. She's got a tattoo of the infamous Flintstone character she got at her days at Cal State Northridge.
She also has a tattoo on her back, apparently. It's a Japanese symbol for love, dedication, and commitment. How do I know all of this? I am entirely too close to these players. They tell me all the good stuff.
It is from one ho-ho to another. 2-1 now to Tamara Ivy.
And I asked Ivy about her 2-for-3 night in Atlanta, and she said, you know, hitting, it's easy. It's so easy when you do it right.
Ivy needs to get a good cut at the ball. That first time up, she was caught looking for strike 3. And that is strike 2 now. 2-2.
Now, Ivy has expressed to me that she's very frustrated. She has 22 strikeouts in the season, and she only had 6 her entire season, her entire senior year at Cal State Northridge.
That is a grounder to third. Quickly, the throw from Dwight Robinson, and safe is the call. We're going to wait on the ruling to see if that is a hit or an error, but you don't mess with Bam Bam.
It's a hit. Now, nice job by Robinson. He charges that ball, does a great job throwing off balance. His first baseman does not do him justice, however. He comes off the bag, and instead of just stepping back and tagging it, he tries to tag her. And by doing that, she gets under him and takes him out. Nice charge.
And it is just those breaks.
See, it looks like he's, well, she certainly gave it a best shot. He may have been, I don't know.
Down 9-0 here in the top of the 5th, and Tamara Ivy goes in feet first to take out Roscoe Still. You gotta love Silver Bullet baseball.
Who was the famous umpire who said, "It's nothing till I call it"? Do you know, Tracy? I can't remember. Anyway, it looked like she may have been out, but he calls her safe, so she's safe.
Kara Kogenhauer looking for her first hit. Kogenhauer, the DH for today, comes in with a .77 ERA. She's got 6 RBIs in this game and is now the 3rd strikeout victim for James Day.
Kogenhauer is an interesting story. I heard Joe call her Snuffy today, and I asked her why. She said when she first came to spring training, they called her Coke, but people thought that was a drug. So they changed it to Copenhagen, and that was no better. So it ended up being Snuffy.
Check that. That is the 2nd strikeout for James Day. And in comes Shannon Mitchum. Mitchum, a last-minute replacement for Tony Heisler. Heisler, coincidentally enough, had a 3-game hitting streak coming into this game. That'll be put on hold. Mitchum, shot to left field. Mark Clemens has to backpedal. He recovers and gloves it for out number 3. So Mitchum, the first one to give it a good shot for the Colorado Silver Bullets, but still no runs on 1 hit and 1 man left on. Shannon Mitchum has the fire, but the Bombers have the runs. They lead 9-0 as we move to the bottom of the 5th. A beautiful night here in Columbia, South Carolina. Not such a great night for the Colorado Silver Bullets. We're at the bottom of the 5th inning, and they trail the Carolina Bombers 9-0.
Well, Nietzsche said, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger," and I imagine a game like this will certainly make the Bullets stronger.
Colorado Silver Bullets spending a lot of time on the defense. More than 7 batters are coming to the plate per inning for the Carolina Bombers. As we had mentioned, the Bombers are made up of Columbia men's senior league baseball players, the majority 30 and older. And a compilation of a couple of teams, the Central Rockies and the Columbia Braves. Those 2 teams, rivals in the offseason, have come together here.
Well, despite the score, the fans are having a great time out here. You can hear them clapping and dancing to the Bomber out here. This is great minor league baseball. This is what pure baseball is about. Not about the money, not about the contracts, about coming out to the park on a beautiful night and dancing with a rat.
We hope our friends at Sports South are enjoying themselves in KBL Prime tonight. This is Colorado Silver Bullets baseball. We're in Columbia, South Carolina. Silver Bullets are taking a licking, but they keep on ticking. Teddy Hefner set to lead it off here. Hefner pop up. Mitchum going back. She's going to call and glove it for out number 1.
That was a great job by Shannon Mitchum. She is so versatile. She plays the outfield, third base, shortstop, and she DHs. She is an outstanding all-around athlete. Here we have it. So you got under it just a little bit. Shannon does a nice job reading the ball, turning around, finding it. Again, look how quick her feet are. She doesn't put her glove up till the last second. Makes it look easy.
Very quiet player. She's the only one that manager Phil Niekro says he can put anywhere, and she'll play the position with relative ease.
It's funny that you bring up how quiet she is, because I was talking to Joe Niekro when we were riding over to the field today, and we were discussing this bus trip that we took from Canada to Duluth, where Shannon just lost it. She's very, very quiet. People were playing wiffle ball on the bus. It hit her in the back of the head. She stood up, screamed at everyone to sit down, and later on apologized for her Sybil-like behavior.
Danny Rame is going to get a seeing eye single, as that's going to fall in.
Well, they've had a lot of legitimate hits tonight, Tracy, but they've certainly had their share of blooper, illegitimate hits, as I like to call them.
That is his 3rd hit on the night. And that will bring up the 3rd baseman, Dwight Robinson. Talked to Robinson before the game, and he coincidentally enough has heard a lot about the Silver Bullets. He was not involved in the game last year, but he was around spring training, and he, as a matter of fact, worked with some of the Silver Bullets. He worked with Michelle McInerney, and he worked with Pam Shafrath. The two players had traveled down to Florida, and it was there that Robinson was in spring training for his minor league team. McInerney and Shafrath looking for some tips. And in effect, Dwight Robinson has had an impact on the career of McInerney and Shafrath. Big glove save by Tamara Ivy. She comes up and steps on first to rob Dwight Robinson of extra bases. A nice play by the first baseman, Tamara Ivy.
That was a gorgeous play by Ivy. Outstanding. She has a very nice first step, good read, keeps her eye right on the ball. That's a very difficult play to make because a lot of time the ball slices when it comes down the right field line. Gorgeous. God, that is gorgeous. What a great athlete.
You gotta love the wherewithal, the Silver Bullets. They do not give up on the defensive end. They do not give up offensively, and their spirit is very, very high.
Well, my guess is Ivy sitting over there saying, well, they have 9. I'll be damned if they get 10.
New batter now for the Carolina Bombers, Joe Pinner. 60-year-old Joe Pinner. 32 years as the weatherman at WIS-TV here in Columbia, South Carolina. He is the ambassador of goodwill, but he's got a high-pressure system in that man in blue right behind him.
Now you can hear the crowd reacting to this guy, and I know he's very popular in this area, but I know the Bullets do not like it when this happens, because what this does is it really makes what they're doing illegitimate.
Foul ball, 0-2 to the man they call Mr. Knows It. Knows the weather, knows the people, and knows the community. A well-respected figure here in Columbia, South Carolina.
Wonder what that tape's for, possibly to cover an earring, Tracy?
He's got the gold necklace, maybe he's got the earring.
He's a hip kind of guy.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3 for the weatherman who just hit a cold front. Joe Pinner goes down swinging. Colorado Silver Bullets and the Bombers move to the 6th. Bombers lead 9-0. There's our hard-working Skeeter, and we want to welcome our friends at Sports South as Skeeter gives a good wave. Hello to our friends at Sports South. We're in Columbia, South Carolina, where the Colorado Silver Bullets trail the Carolina Bombers 9-0, and he was a cohort of the man who just struck out swinging and didn't like it, the weatherman at WIS, Joe Pinner. So Skeeter and Pinner go way back. This is their old stomping grounds here at Capital City.
Looks like we got a new pitcher in here, Trace. Richard Moore, or Bobo.
Richard Moore, 6'1", 185 pounds, the 37-year-older. Spent some time at Baptist College. He's an owner of a health club.
Apparently, when his teammates say he has 1% body fat, so that may be a perk of owning a health club. It's called the Shape Up Shop. I talked to him before the game, actually. He was not happy about the baggy uniforms.
Missy Kress going to lead it off here in the top of the 6th. You see Richard Moore, the third pitcher for the Carolina Bombers. Mark Clemens started the game. James Day came in. And now it is Richard Moore here in the 6th. Kress fouls back, 0-2.
I asked Moore to describe himself as a pitcher, and he said, well, in college, I probably threw close to 90. These days, about 80. An average slider and a knuckleball, which the Bullets should be familiar with. He says he doesn't walk a lot of batters. In 60 innings, in fact, he has only walked 7. He has an ERA of 2.83 in 57 innings pitched.
I don't have time to do that.
Fouled back, Missy Kress stays alive here.
Well, now may be a good time to reflect on the purpose of the Silver Bullets, which is really to develop interest in girls and women in the sport and to inspire them to stay involved in the sport. Although they're...
Take a look at Chris Boyle. Looks like he may have been shaken up on this foul tip by Kress. And while you were away, Missy Kress strikes out for out number 1. The first strikeout victim for Richard Moore. Michelle McInerney, one of 2 Silver Bullets to reach first base. She struck out her first time up and then drew her 29th base of balls on the season in the 4th inning. Pop up in the infield. The shortstop, Mark McCallum's going to call it.
Looks like he almost missed that. Did a little belly catch right there.
2-away now in the 6th inning, and that will bring up the shining Stacey Sunny. And what I mean by that, if we can get a close-up of Stacey Sunny, we are going to see exactly what happened to her eye. Take a look at that left eye of Stacey Sunny. She is riding a 6-game hitting streak, keeping an eye on the ball, and one of the pitchers in the Syracuse game just banged her in the right eye, and she said her whole left side of her face was swollen.
She has taken some serious abuse this year.
She has missed a total of 7 games. She had Achilles heel problems. She had, of course, she got clocked in the eye, and she also had some other minor injuries, but she has missed a total of 7 games. She said she comes in with the attitude of what is next. I've got enough injuries for the entire team. That should just about do it.
Well, Stacey's a good hitter because she can really wait on the ball, which she did right there.
And she takes it opposite side, but Roscoe still is there to glove it for out number 3. So 3 up and 3 down. The Carolina Bombers hold on to their 9-0 lead. Dusk is settling in on Capital City Stadium here in Columbia, South Carolina. The Bombers holding on to their 9-0 lead. And Colorado Silver Bullets have moved on to their 3rd pitcher of the night. It is University of Southwestern Louisiana grad Allison Habits. Habits a righty with an 0-1 record, 2.92 ERA. Her last appearance came 1 week ago tonight against Rochester. She threw 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, 0 runs, and a base on balls.
Now, Allison has a fastball and a curve. She said she's working on a slider and a change. She uses her fastball to get ahead, and her curveball is her out pitch. She feels it's her most effective pitch.
She's very good friends with Los Angeles Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda. As a matter of fact, she calls Lasorda Uncle Tom. She has, in fact, been at Chavez Ravine, played on the field a little bit. She often speaks with Lasorda, who says he was as pumped up as anyone that she was going to pitch for the Colorado Silver Bullets. And you think she could get a couple tips from Hideo Nomo?
I bet we could all get some tips from Hideo Nomo. What an amazing player he is.
A lot of these players will tell you they were watching the All-Star game last night trying to pick up some tips from some of the greats of Major League Baseball.
It's no better place to get some tips, I'll tell you that. It was a great game, too.
The catcher, Chris Boyle, will lead it off here for the Bombers in the bottom of the 6th inning as they try to add on to their 9-0 lead. And looks like Boyle shook off whatever ailments he may have gotten last inning as he took a foul tip and off the bat of Missy Crest, but he seems to be okay.
Habits missing low there. She's going out to talk to Habits right away. Now, the Bullets are doing a lot of things better this year, although not tonight, I may add. They've turned 12 double plays this year. They've effectively used their sacrifice bunt 35 times this early in the season, and they've also walked 143 times as compared to 74 of their opponents. They've averaged about 3.2 runs a game as well, which is significantly more than we did last year.
Silver Bullets had 4 wins last year, and what manager Phil Niekro will say was a very rough inaugural year. He had a lot of athletes come out and conform them into baseball players. This, his 2nd year, says he has baseball and softball players who know the game and have really picked up very, very quickly and learned the game at a rapid pace. But they have to do a lot of their learning before thousands of people in the form of a game.
Well, when people ask me about this team or they ask me about last year, I say, look, you can't rush experience. Experience doesn't come any faster then day by day, then out there every day playing in front of these crowds. That was a fantastic pitch. I think she calls that her Bayou pitch, being from Louisiana.
Raging Cajun played for Yvette Gerard at the University of Southwestern Louisiana. Played in the Softball College World Series, played first base, and at that time she had expressed interest in playing men's professional baseball because the Silver Bullets were not yet in formation. And Bob Hope and Paul Ketchum came along and certainly formed the team, and now they are in their second year.
There's Shannon Kimberling. We were talking about her work ethic earlier, and not surprising to find her down there working on blocking the ball. That's Gina Satriano actually tossing him to her.
3-1 now to Chris Boyle. Shot to left field. Kropke can't get it. That's going to go off the wall. Boyle is going to go in with a stand-up double.
Now, you talked about all the women that came out for the team. Last year we had over 3,000. This year I'm not sure of the number. It may have been more. Great contact. That was very well done. It looked like he got cut up a little bit in his body, but he certainly didn't have any problem making the distance. Carrie Kropke, again, we see her back, taking the ball off the wall. Again, nice job hitting her cutoff.
So, like Pam Davis and like Billie Joe Charpy, Allison Habits allows a hit for the first batter she faces in the game. That is Chris Boyle's third hit of the game.
As I was saying, Tracy, last year we had a surprise during spring training. This is probably my favorite story to tell about the Silver Bullets. We had a man try out as a woman, and her name was Lisa Fritsch. She was a humongous first baseman. I'll never forget the first day.
You play first base, so.
The first day we took batting practice, she hit a ball off, or should I say, Jerry Fritz, hit a ball off the wall, and I was like, I'm going home. They are sending me home. There's no way I can do that. Turns out they cut her before they found out she was a man.
Ooh. Habits throws behind the sportscaster Corey Curtis, who is now a pitch hitter. Jeff Frost is the pitch runner on second base, so he will run for Chris Boyle. Curtis is a sportscaster for Channel 25 here in Columbia, South Carolina, WOLO.
Ooh.
And Habits going high to the sportscaster, now 3-0.
High and behind.
And Curtis wants to preserve his livelihood. He is not liking that at all. He's stepping out of the box, posturing a little bit.
Looks like she's got him back off the plate a little bit. He's giving him a little more room to work with. Wow. Not good.
Ball 4 and then some to Corey Curtis.
We mentioned earlier, Tracy, that a lot of these women are learning how to play the game, and they're learning in front of a crowd of 4,000. They're learning in front of the nation who's watching these games. And it's not easy for these women because each one of them is a key player, an impact player from a winning program somewhere in the United States. They are used to winning. They are used to starting. They are not used to this kind of experience, and it is tough. It is really tough.
Bob Shields now comes on to pitch hit in the number 9 spot for the Carolina Bombers. Shields played for the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. He is also a sportscaster at WLTX. He was just named South Carolina Sportscaster of the Year, so congratulations to him. Shields, 35 years old, 220 pounds at 5'11".
As I mentioned earlier, Carolina has a very long and rich history of baseball. And in fact, on August 14th through August 19th, there will be the 40th anniversary of Dixie Youth Baseball. Now, this is a 6-day tournament starting on the 14th, and many professional and basketball players participated in this league. In fact, Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, and Mookie Wilson have all played in it. This game, the final game, will be televised on Sports South on the 9th of August.
2-1 now to the sportscaster Bob Shields. Runners on first and second, nobody out. And we are in the bottom of the 6th inning with the Bombers leading the Silver Bullets 9-0. Allison Habits, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Colorado Silver Bullets. She came on to spell Billy Joe Charpy, who came on to spell Pam Davis. There's a shot to the left side. Shannon Mitchum going to glove it, go to second. A nice pickup by Michelle McEnany. And a nice play on the fielder's choice by both Mitchum and McEnany. That is nice infield work.
It was a great job by Shannon. Good first step. From her knees, all she can do. McEnany, excellent stretch. Looks like a first baseman there. Gets him out. My guess is that we're going to see this on the highlight film on Corey's television show.
So Corey Curtis is out at second base. Bob Shields is at first on the fielder's choice. And Jeff Ross moves up to third base. One away for David Ross.
Now Allison's hoping for a double play here. They say the double play is the pitcher's best friend, and for reasons exactly like this one.
Habits came into the game with a 2.92 ERA, 0-1, making her 9th appearance tonight. Converted first baseman.
Now in 12 innings pitched, she has 8 strikeouts and 15 walks.
1-1 now to David Ross. We hope those watching the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network on your regional sports network are enjoying Colorado Silver Bullets baseball. Bullets are behind now 9-0. They are trying to break out of a July funk. There's a ground up the middle to Mitchum. Mitchum to McEnany for 1. They go for 2. Nothing doing there. And meanwhile, a run scores, and that will make it 10-0 Carolina Bombers. Bob Shields out at second on the fielder's choice. And Chris and Jeff Ross will score with that 10th run.
Well, there was certainly no doubt they should have had that first runner. He didn't look like he had a whole heck of a lot of speed. Shannon did look like she may have had some problems getting it out of her glove right here with McEnany. They were nowhere close. She may have been better off not even throwing the ball. Ivy, as you saw, came off the bag knowing there was no shot.
Mike Schell steps in as a pinch hitter. Schell out of the University of Cincinnati. Played some ball there. 33-year-older, 5'10", 170 pounds. He is a radio announcer, so the media are getting their shot here in the 6th inning. It has been a long, long night for the Colorado Silver Bullets.
It certainly has. Now, a lot of people ask me, what these Silver Bullet women are like. And I tell them that they're very serious. This is not a joke to them. They've left their careers, they've left their families, they've left their relationships to show the world that women can play baseball. They're feminine, they're college educated for the most part, they're articulate. None of them are married. I get that question a lot. And none of them have children.
And they eat ho-hos.
And they do. They do. They're not supposed to. And I doubt after the meeting that they will.
Gina Satriano is case in point, assistant district attorney for the County of Los Angeles. She goes back to her job as a lawyer once the season's done, and they give her a leave of absence for the month she plays for the Silver Bullets. I asked her if she's watching the O.J. Simpson trial. She says, oh, yes. And I said, well, what do you think? And she says the prosecution proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt to any reasonable jury.
I was actually watching, I was talking to Mac today, and she was lying in bed watching the O.J. trial. She said that it's her soap. And she said she's really hooked on it, and that, in fact, a lot of the players are. And they have a lot of time to kill in these hotel rooms.
2-2 now to Mike Schell. The radio announcer here in Columbia, South Carolina, played for the Bearcats, set the University of Cincinnati. 2 outs now. Fouled back, count stays at 2-2.
She really got him reaching for that one. Looked like he went fishing right there. Speaking of McEnany, she's really a team leader, and I think one of the reasons she plays so well is that she really has it all in perspective. Like I said, she was in bed watching the O.J. trial, resting up. She said she knows when to turn it on and when to shut it down. You can't run the horse all night.
I asked Michelle McEnany what keeps her going, and you had mentioned a lot of these players suffer loneliness. She says she has people write her letters, phone call her, and just thank her for the effort that she's been giving through this entire season. She has a young lady in Atlanta named Betsy who gives her a call, wishes her good luck. That is a shot. Base hit single, and there goes the runner in the third. Here's the throw, and it gets away from Stacy Sonny. So now the Bombers have runners at first and third here in the bottom of the sixth.
It's interesting that you bring up that McEnany, because she gave me a letter actually that she wanted me to read a part of tonight from a fan like that, and I will read it to you right after this replay.
Mike Shell, a nice swing and a good single in the gap.
Bratz does a nice job when she approaches this ball to really use the momentum of her body to get a nice hard throw. Unfortunately, got the runner in the back, and he knocks over Sonny, and they don't have a shot.
That is David Ross now, who has moved up to third. Mike Shell is on first. And 43-year-old Teddy Hefner.
The letter that I was mentioning is from Thomas Warlow, and he wrote McEnany to thank her for her unusual kindness and generosity that she showed her daughter. She said that Betsy's favorite baseball player is you, at major or minor league, throughout all of last season and this season. He says, I'm extremely grateful to you for spending the time and effort with Betsy. McEnany gave her her game hat in Atlanta. He said you provide her with real inspiration, and it's heartwarming to find someone in your position that is willing to foster and encourage a young child's dream. And what he's trying to get at, I think, is that McEnany is having, and the Bullets are having, a significant impact on her aspirations with respect to a baseball career of her own. And that's what this team is about.
Bullets were recognized by the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues as a legitimate team. They are the first women's team to play since 1954. Of course, they came into being last year when over 1,800 girls, women tried out. And this is in their second season, and the owners, Bob Hope and Paul Beckham, have aspirations of going international. Big swing by the 43-year-old Hefner, fouled back.
You know what, Tracy, if the Bullets do nothing else, and I know that they will, I know this is something that's going to expand, they have effectively lifted the ban that was on women, that was put on women in 1954. So even if this team were to disappear tomorrow, which it will not, a woman could now play for the Mets. She could now play for the Yankees in a minor league team, which could not have happened before.
Runners at first and third, 2 out, 1 and 2, pitch down the first base line, the foul.
Well, there's been a lot of talk, Trace, and I'm kind of interested in what you think about whether this team will evolve into a women's league or if it will evolve into a co-ed situation. What do you think?
I know Bob Hope, in speaking with him, and perhaps this is a little bit of cheating, he wants it to evolve into a co-ed type situation where for the first time men and women can play together. He'd like it to see it go on an amateur level and then perhaps a professional level. I know that's what he said he's partial to. Little blooper off the bat of Hefner, and McEnany gloves it, but now without some damage. Silver Bullets allow a run. They trail 10-0, and you're watching Colorado's Silver Bullet Baseball on your regional sports network. Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. We welcome the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network followers watching Colorado's Silver Bullet Baseball. As you see, Bombers have pulled out to a 10-0 lead here at Capital City Stadium. It has been a lot of key hitting off the bat of the Bombers. And the Colorado Silver Bullets, quite honestly, have struggled at the plate, managed just 1 hit, 2 runners on base, and have come out very, very flat.
Well, we saw a smile on Clemens' face. I'm sure he's satisfied with his performance and hoping that possibly he'll get scouted on this broadcast.
Pam Shafrath will lead it off for the Silver Bullets here in the 7th inning. She has struck out in her 2 appearances at the plate. Hearing a little music from Hootie and the Blowfish. This is the hometown of Hootie and the Blowfish, and they will be giving a concert later this year in this very stadium. Off the bat of Shafrath. Going to be a close play. McCallum makes the throw and gets her for out number 1.
That first baseman made a post-out stretch right there. There's a beautiful full moon out here tonight. A gorgeous, gorgeous Carolina night.
Check that. That is Mike Shell now playing shortstop for the Carolina Bombers as the replacements continue to come forward for the Bombers.
It's an interesting stretch. He didn't really stretch his glove. He stretched his leg. He's kept his glove hand exactly where it was.
Richard Moore, the 3rd pitcher for the Bombers, as he pitches to Kim Bratz. Bratz, one of the spiritual leaders on the Silver Bullet team. She holds chapel in her room. In almost every city, they try and contact the town minister and hold whatever semblance of chapel that they can have at the last minute. They're very true to their faith.
Bratz is a very devout Christian, and I tell you, if you look under her bill of her cap, she has scriptures that she reads that keep her going, excuse me. She also has dedicated this season to Ambrose Allday, who was a young man who died of a brain tumor. She said that he was a great baseball player and he died, you know, as a relatively young man, and that she just wanted to dedicate it to him to show how important he was to her.
The eyes of Kim Bratz tell the story. 2-1, 1 out. The Silver Bullets have yet to put a run on the board. Strike 2.
Kim is a very smart batter, and I asked her what rules she goes by when she hits, and she says 3 rules. First, get a good ball to hit. Second, make sure you're thinking properly. And third, be quick with the bat. The longer you can wait, the less chance you'll be fooled. But waiting requires quickness, and she certainly has it.
Bratz has 14 hits, leads the team with 4 doubles.
Now, Bratz is one of those players that will go out of her way to get the extra practice, to work out. As I know in Atlanta, she went out of her way to get a shuttle, to get the equipment, and to get a coach, which are all 3 things she needs to go to the park and take extra cuts.
Yeah, she's been playing right field. She's been a mainstay in center field for the last couple games. And Kim Bratz goes down swinging for the 2nd time this ball game. That is the 2nd strikeout victim for Richard Moore.
Nice job. It's like she pulled her head out a little bit right there. She looked back to see where the pitch was, as opposed to having her head down in the zone.
Carrie Kropke trying to provide a spark. She's batting at the number 5 spot. And that is certainly a step up. Kropke has been making appearances at the 7, 8, and 9 mark. But the outfielder from Montebello, California has earned her right to move up to number 5, says manager Phil Niekro.
Now Kropke is swinging a new bat. She says it's a D184 and it's 32 inches. When we were in California last year, Ricky Henderson actually came up and picked up her bat and joked around as he dragged it along the ground, saying it was entirely too heavy for him to swing, and gave her his bat.
Well, she didn't swing it there. Kropke caught looking. The 3rd strikeout victim for Richard Moore. We're going to move slowly to the bottom of the 7th. Silver Bullets trailing 10-0. Runs on 18 hits, 0 errors for the Carolina Bombers. No runs on 1 hit and 1 error. It's been that kind of night here in Columbia, South Carolina for the Colorado Silver Bullets. They came in looking to get revenge on last year's 7-4 loss, and instead they've become the victims of a very aggressive Carolina Bombers team. Let's take a look at the only offense tonight for the Colorado Silver Bullets. The lone hit off the bat of Tamara Ivy. It was an infield single and a takeout slide. You can penalize her 10 yards for clipping, but still she got the single, and it's the only hit on the board.
They've been taking him out all night. Kropke got him earlier. definitely get the impression that everyone in Carolina dances. I don't think we've seen a fan that's still here tonight.
You ever seen them at football games? The Carolina Gamecock fans are some of the most, I want to say, vociferous fans, most vocal fans in the Carolinas. They give the Duke Blue Devils in basketball games a run for their money. Cameron Crazies. Danny Rehm going to lead it off here in the bottom of the 7th. He'll face Allison Habits, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Silver Bullets. He is 3 for 4. A great night for Danny Rehm.
It looks like they have some action in the bullpen now as to whether or not it's a pitcher down there just getting some work or if they're thinking about bringing someone in. We do not know yet.
This team, a collaboration as you take a look.
We have Christine Manji. Now, she had a bicep strain, so they sat her out in Atlanta. But I talked to the trainer, Jean Hahn, and she said that she thinks she's ready to go.
Hard shot off the glove of Tamara Ivy. And Danny Rehm is going to wind up at first base to lead off the 7th. They're going to give him a hit. So Rehm picks up his 4th hit of the night.
He's a nice job going with the outside pitch. Nice, well-hit ball. Ivy, good job. Looks like she dropped to her knees as opposed to maybe making a little more smooth. They're going to give him a hit.
Third baseman Dwight Robinson going against Habits. Habits gets ahead of Robinson. 0-1. Big swing and a miss now. Habits is ahead of Robinson, 0-2. Silver Bullets have just come from playing in a professional ballpark. They played at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. They've played at several professional ballparks this year in the likes of Shea Stadium. They played at Cooperstown, not a professional ballpark, but certainly a professional welcome. And at Coors Field. Shot to Michelle McEnany. She's got one way to go. She'll go to first and throw out Dwight Robinson.
Great range again there by McEnany. And as you said, Tracy, she was moving towards first base, so it would have made no sense whatsoever for her to try for the double play. She did a good job. Nice, solid throw to Ivy. She is so quick. Look at her. Nice job. Ball comes up a little bit on her. She stays with it, turns, squares to first. Good throw. Ivy, nice footwork at first.
Richard Moore, the pitcher, will take his swings. He is a switch hitter, so he'll bat from the left-hand side as he faces the right-hander, Allison Habits. One away. Bombers lead 10-0.
She really fooled him with that pitch. That was a nice job.
And now she's starting to get ahead of the batter. She jumped ahead of Dwight Robinson, and here she is with an 0-2 count to Richard Moore. So Habits is starting to play very aggressively, moving on the offense rather than playing on the defense.
Now Moore, again, a pitcher who hits very well. He has a .375 average. He leads the leagues in home runs, although this is not one.
High fly to left field. That may be trouble. Mitchum is going to go back.
Actually, that's Guthrow. It looks like they've made a substitution. Nice job. That's a real tough play. That's Lori Guthrow, who has not seen a lot of time, but I tell you, the time that she has been in, she's done a very nice job. That's a tough play. The third baseman has no shot at it. The shortstop is pretty much the only person, unless Carrie could have come in and called her off, Carrie Kropke in left field, she was the only one who had a shot at it. Now, I know the Bullets are still working on communication between the infield and the outfield, but I understand from talking to the coaches that it's getting better.
Yeah, Kim Bratz, and talking with her, she says it's very, very good between her and Carrie Kropke. Of course, they are two mainstays, but you add an unknown to the mixture in Lori Guthrow, and that's going to set things off a little bit. So count an infield single for Richard Moore, and now the Bombers have runners at first and second with one out in the 7th, and they are threatening once again.
Well, I'll tell you, Lori Guthrow is a great player. She has incredible character. Now, she was released last year because of an injury to her hand, and because of that, she does not take any of this for granted. She works out hard every day. She doesn't rest on her laurels. In fact, she has weights, hand weights in her room that her and Tony lift and work out on the road.
Guthrow out of Pensacola, Florida. Jeff Ross going against Habits. Ross fouls it back. 2-1. Jeff Ross, 33-year-old, 5'8", 165 pounds. He is a switch hitter. Played some at Warner South College. Big swing.
Well, there's a great crowd here tonight, Tracy. There's 4,227 people here, which for a blowout game like this is a very impressive crowd. And they've been behind the Bullets every step of the way. They appear to be having a great time out here tonight.
And they haven't left. 2-2 pitch. And Jeff Ross delivers down the right line. In comes the runner. Throw at the plate is late, and the Bombers move ahead 11-0 in the 7th inning.
Well, there's kind of an unwritten rule in baseball, and I imagine in other sports, that there's a time when you're winning by enough that you really ease up. And it doesn't appear as if the Bombers are doing that. And I know the Bullets don't want them to not go up there and take their cuts, but maybe shy away from taking the extra base.
So give Jeff Ross the RBI single. That scores Danny Rame. And it is now 11-0 in Columbia, South Carolina. And runners are still at first and second.
Pam Shafrath did a nice job with her approach to the ball, a nice good angle. She also charged the ball on the ground, which is what you want your good outfielders to do.
Shafrath, as we mentioned, in a platoon situation in right field. Angie Marzetta sees time out there, as has Shannon Mitchum. 20 hits now for the Carolina Bombers.
Ouch.
Hank Gaddis now steps in. He will pitch it.
It's going to be Hank Gaddis, backup catcher. Number 6, Hank Gaddis, backup catcher.
These two teams squared off last year. The Silver Bullets had gone ahead 4-0, sent fear into the hearts of the Columbia Bombers. The Bombers got back into the ballgame and won 7-4.
Now we can see Gene Hahn, who's the trainer right there. And this would be a good time to mention the support staff for the Silver Bullets, who really work hard despite the not ideal conditions. They have Patrick Matthews, who is the equipment and uniform guy. He moves 110 pieces of luggage every game. We have Kevin Lewis, who runs the show. He is the traveling general manager for all intents and purposes. He's leaning on the pole right there. Nerva Millord, who is the PR director, who does all of her work out of a hotel room with a portable fax. And Gene Hahn, who does all of her training and all of her, how to take care, she takes care of the athletes in a hotel room, which is very tough to do electric stim.
First strikeout victim for Allison Habits is Hank Gaddis. He threw it low and away. 2 down now here in the bottom of the 7th. Bob Shields, the 220-pound TV sportscaster who won an award recently for his sportscasting. Strike one to the sportscaster. Stacy Sonny gets to it. She fires out Shields. So the Bombers push a run across. They've got 20 hits They lead the Colorado Silver Bullets 11-0. Fantastic crowd here in Columbia, South Carolina. In excess of 4,000 fans coming out to watch Colorado Silver Bullets baseball. And that's in addition to the fans at home watching on the Women's Sports and Entertainment Network. Colorado Silver Bullets have struggled from the get-go. They have given up runs in almost every inning and have managed only one hit, and this is the woman who got the lone hit, Tamara Ivy. Silver Bullets looking for some more runs now off a new pitcher, Teddy Hefner. The 43-year-old manager has now come in to pitch for the Bombers. Swing and a miss, 1-2 to Tamara Ivy.
I spoke with Ivy today, and she said that traveling, she's getting used to it, but she is lonely. And in fact, she's only seen her fiance, Steven, one time this year. So much like Carrie Kropke, she has a very, very large phone bill.
Second baseman is under it and gloves it for out number 1. That is Mark Corbin now playing second base in replacement of Teddy Hefner, who's moved in to pitch. And it is a frustrating night for everyone. Kara Kogenhauer.
This guy looks like he's just literally tossing or throwing them up there. Oh.
Little excuse me shot off the bat of Kogenhauer. Corbin gloves it and throws Kogenhauer out. It has been just a dismal night for the Colorado Silver Bullets in every imaginable way.
I have to say, and I don't think they would be offended, but it is not a pretty night for the Silver Bullets. Look at Kara, she's like, I'm sure that pitch looks super fat. Darn, I shouldn't have hit that. It looked like she got her hands out in front. She was fooled by the speed, or maybe she was a little anxious. Got her bat out. It's too late. What are you going to do?
Shannon Mitchum. Big rip, and that's going to be the second hit for the Colorado Silver Bullets.
That's Lori Guthrie, and that's her first hit of the season, and I tell you, she is a great player. She's not seen a lot of time, but I think she may with her performance tonight.
So Guthrie gets the second Silver Bullet hit of this game. Guthrie, who makes her hometown in Pensacola, Florida. Talked to her before the game. But she is someone who says her mom has a tendency to surprise her at some games, so she wouldn't be surprised if she showed up today.
Well, it'll be a good game to show up. She said she doesn't get a lot of feedback on the Bullets, but that she knows that she's good and that she doesn't need to hear it all the time. That she's going to get out there and work very hard every day until she gets her shot, until she gets her shot at being an everyday player.
Missy Kress seeing if she can make something happen here. Now the catching position, according to Phil Niekro, is up in the air. Elizabeth Burnham has been out with a back injury, but Phil is looking for some offense from one of three of his catchers, be it Elizabeth Burnham, Shannon Kimberling, or Kress. Kress just nipped in the helmet, and now the Silver Bullets are mounting a two-out rally here in the top of the eighth.
Here's the pitch, and that wouldn't hurt very much. It's definitely high and tight. She figured she was getting the base anyway, so she didn't have to take the knock.
It is time for a Mac attack. Michelle McInerney 0 for 2 on the night. Chopper. Hefner's going to have to make the throw. He can't come up with it, and now the bases are loaded for the Colorado Silver Bullets here in the top of the eighth.
You know, McInerney, not what she wanted, but I tell you what, it'll work. Looks like Hefner trying to grab with his bare hand instead of going with his glove, bobbles it. This is perfect. This is stereotypical Silver Bullet baseball. They play run to run, they play station to station.
And this is the woman you want up at the plate, the fighter in Stacy Sonny. Sonny has 8 RBIs, leads the Silver Bullets in average with 259 and has 15 hits. She is looking for her first hit of this ball game. It would be the 4th Silver Bullet hit, as they have managed now 3. A shot up the middle, but Hefner gloves it and quickly ends the Silver Bullet threat. So no runs, but 2 hits. The Silver Bullets have shown some life, but haven't shown any runs. They trail 11-0. Fine Southern hospitality here in Columbia, South Carolina. We're at Capital City Stadium. The night is beautiful, but the baseball's a little bit ugly here as the Silver Bullets are trailing. Tune in for our next Silver Bullets television game. We hope that baseball is a little bit more lively, and the Bullets probably promise it is. That is coming your way Wednesday, July 26th, against the Kalamazoo Yankees. Check your local listings for your next Colorado Silver Bullets television game.
Well, I know the Colorado Silver Bullets are constantly scouting. They're constantly looking for new players. And in fact, if anyone out there is interested in trying out or contacting the Bullets for merchandise, you can contact Hope Beckham Incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia at 404-636-8200.
Yeah, I was talking to Joe Necro before the game, and he and a couple of coaching staff, Johnny Grubb, Bruce Crabb, are thinking about going down to Florida to check out a women's baseball league and perhaps recruit some prospects for next year. And there is manager Phil Necro, and what a great mentor he has been. 56-year-old, 24 years in the majors, and he played for the Braves and the Yankees. Became the oldest pitcher ever to pitch a shutout for the Yankees at 46 years old. He says he likes to make dreams come true for these women.
Well, he's a very appropriate leader for this team because he himself was not a, shall we say, normal baseball player. He was a little different in his delivery and his style, so he can really empathize with these women. He's a very patient man and a very flexible manager.
Christine Monge is the new pitcher for the Colorado Silver Bullets. Quickly off the bat and gets out number 1. So Mark Corbin becomes the first victim for Christine Monge, and she has done something none of her predecessors have managed to do, and that is get the first batter out that they faced.
Well, Monge has a very impressive 1.8 ERA. It's the lowest for the club. Her record is 1-1. She's an outstanding pitcher and a perfect closer. I would dare say she's a future star, but she's making a very good name for herself this year. She's definitely a rookie to watch.
20 hits for the Carolina Bombers tonight. This is the 4th Silver Bullet pitcher. Shot to the gap. That is going to be a single for Mike Shell. The 21st hit for the Carolina Bombers. The first off Christine Monge.
Now we can see Monge adjusting her necklace. She wears a necklace around her neck that reminds her of her father, and said when she really needs support, that she holds that she adjusts that necklace, that she touches the prayer hands and looks to her father for support.
Monge making her 9th appearance. She comes in with a record of 1-1, a 3.60 ERA. Born in San Francisco, California, now makes her home in Briar, Washington.
Now they call her Sid, a nickname that she picked up because her her coaches played with a Sid Monge and coached a Sid Monge in the Atlanta organization. I understand he was a very good player, so it's a good nickname to have.
Teddy Hefner, the manager, is not taking himself out of this ball game. This is his 7th at bat for the 43-year-old. 1 out.
I'm sorry.
Bottom of the 8th.
Well, Hefner told me that he knows that people are here to see the Bullets. The Bullets are the main attraction. They just love the game, and they're happy to be here. They're happy to be included.
Hefner, among the many players that pays to play, he pays $150 to play in the Senior Men's Adult Baseball League here in Columbia, South Carolina.
Seems like a relatively cheap price for a summer of entertainment.
3-1 now, the count on 43-year-old Teddy Hefner. Has just 1 hit on the night. Mike Shell at first with a single. Manji, one of those pitchers who said she had to never convert from softball to baseball because she never really played softball.
Most of the women on this team have played baseball. Most of them have a history, be it Little League or high school, of playing the game. But what happens is you reach a point where it's boys baseball and girls softball, and either you buck the system as a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, 18-year-old, or you conform and play the sport you're supposed to play. What happens is we lose a lot of good girl athletes to softball.
Shot out to center field. Kim Brox is under it and gloves it for out number 2.
Actually, it looks like we have another replacement out there, Tracy. It looks like that is Angie Marzetta. Yes, that is Angie Marzetta. She does not look happy. Now, she is someone who cannot hide her emotion or doesn't care to hide her emotion.
So Marzetta has moved in for Bratz in center field. Laurie Guthrow has moved in for Shannon Mitchum at shortstop. We've got a new pitcher in Christine Manji.
Now, Manji is a good, solid, difficult pitcher because she pitches low, she has a good deception in her motion, she throws strikes, and she's good with runners on.
And we should mention a big change is Elizabeth Burnham is now doing the catching for the Colorado Silver Bullets. So after missing a few games with an injured back, and boy, what a story Elizabeth Burnham is. She is back in true form, perhaps the best defensive catcher in Silver Bullet history.
She's an outstanding defensive catcher. In fact, she only had 2 pass balls last year. And I may add that the entire catching staff, I'm sorry, they had their first pass ball today, the whole season.
Danny Rame is teeing off, but they are both foul against Christine Manji.
It's a long strike.
Talking with Elizabeth Burnham before the game, she actually has a fractured bone in her back, and she is playing with the fracture in her back. The doctor said either you get it operated on or you can play in pain, and that's exactly what she's doing. She's playing in pain.
I spoke with Jean Hahn, the trainer, and she said she has a sciatica in her back, and in fact, it's not going to get any worse or any better, so she might as well play.
So Pam Shafrath gloves it for out number 3. No runs pushed across, but the Bombers are leading 11-0. Last chance effort for the Colorado Silver Bullets. They've got to make something happen. They've got to make up a lot of ground. They trail 11-0 here. The fans still sticking around here to watch the likes of every Silver Bullet, including Pam Shafrath, who's set to lead off the top of the 9th. Shafrath looking for her first hit. Silver Bullets had mounted a threat last inning. They had loaded the bases until Stacy Sunny lined out to the pitcher. A nice shot off the bat of Shafrath, misplayed by the left fielder, and that is going to be extra bases for Shafrath. So a big rip off the bat of Pam Shafrath. Richard Moore just misplayed this baseball in left field.
Shafrath, gorgeous job. She really got on top of that high pitch. Looked like it went through his glove and something happened possibly to his knee or his ankle. Here's another angle. Look. It looked like he may have injured himself turning around to watch the ball get by him.
They're going to give Pam Shafrath a hit.
All right. 2, 2, 2.
So now, as Richard Moore, the health club owner, checks out his physique, Pam Shafrath is on second base with a leadoff double.
Now, I know Pam's happy to get a hit, but I tell you, I really do think that the scorekeepers sometimes are a little lenient with the Bullets. I think that they're lenient with errors and they're lenient with hits. That was questionable. It looks like he should have had that ball.
Well, we've seen it all year, Julie, of the scorekeepers either error on the side of the fielders or the pitchers, and we've had a couple players come up to us and say, hey, that wasn't a hit or that was a hit, and certainly don't want any leniency. Well, it looks like Richard Moore is going to come out of the ball game as he has twisted his knee and he's limping off haphazardly.
Well, I know Moore is an American Legion baseball coach, and he has a couple of his players here tonight watching him.
Moore to first base. He can swing over first.
They have Angie Marzetta, and boy, I love to watch her hit in BP. She has got really quick hands, pure line drive hitter. We see Phil coming out, apparently to talk to the umpire. I imagine he's letting him know of the substitutions.
So Angie Marzetta, a 111 hitter. She's got 4 hits coming into this game.
Marzetta is the only lefty hitter that the Silver Bullets have. She's a switch hitter. She says she's quick from the left side and powerful from the right side. Now, although she's hitting 111 at this point in the season, she still maintains a very high on-base percentage of .396. She also has 1 for 1 with stolen base attempts. She's got great speed.
Takes a nice cut at that, but that is foul. 1 and 2 now to Angie Marzetta. Crowd sticking around here in Columbia, South Carolina, and that has been the story for the Colorado Silver Bullets. No matter what state they go to, no matter what town they roll in, the fans follow them. So very loyal, very fine following. Marzetta, the 22-year-old switch hitter out of Seattle, Washington. Boy, you can clock that pitch with the calendar, can't you?
I tell ya.
Pam Shafrath led off the 9th with a double. Outside, 3-1 to Angie Marzetta.
Well, believe it or not, this is an odd adjustment for the Bullets. To go from someone like Clemens, who's throwing pure gas, to Hefner, who's tossing the ball over, is a very big adjustment as a hitter.
Nice cut off the bat of Marzetta, giving chases the right fielder. He'll glove it, and Pam Shafrath is going to move up to third base.
Smart, aggressive base running by Pam Shafrath. Again, you can see how the Silver Bullets batting averages are hurt because the outfielders play in so close. Now, if that outfielder had been back 5 or 6 steps, that's a base hit. That's probably a double since it's so close down the line.
That is Bob Shields making the catch, the sportscaster. As you see, Angie Marzetta, who says she likes to play football, really goes and attacks that pitch, Julie.
Well, I'll tell you, if I got in a bar fight or a fight in an alley, I'd want her on my side.
Well, she's charged the pitcher, from what I understand, already this season.
Does not surprise me. She probably didn't even take her bat. I would have to take my bat.
A hit would certainly lift the spirits of the Colorado Silver Bullets off the bat of Kerry Crockey. Crockey fouls it back. Geddes, the catcher, giving chase. 2 down now.
Well, my guess is that the mood in the dugout is either very, very serene and serious, or they've almost got to be laughing this one off.
Well, let's see him do it. Let's see Tamara Ivy push across that 1 run. Let's not see Phil Joe Niekro and the Silver Bullet clan be shut out tonight.
It looked very somber there.
Put it on the board, Tamara.
The Silver Bullets have only been shut out twice this year. We were shut out 16 times, I do not like to admit, in 1994.
Shut out against the Norfolk Mariners on June 11th in Washington, D.C. and against the Seattle Max. And that is a shot to right field, and there is the first run, pushed across the plate, and Ivy is going to go in the second with the double.
Nice job. Look at the expression on Ivy's face. You can tell she's been waiting a long time to hit the ball like that, and she is on fire. 2 for 3 in Atlanta, and I believe 2 for 3 tonight.
The first RBI of the ball game, and it comes off the bat of the feisty Tamra Ivy.
Well, she's got a lot of power, and I think that's why, along with her incredible defense prowess, that Niekro puts her in these games over and over again. She just ripped that ball.
You gotta like Tamra Ivy and her fighting spirit. She's read up on the art of hitting. She's made some modifications. She is a fighter through and through and has pushed across the first run for the Silver Bullets.
Now, Kogenauer, like I was mentioned earlier, her batting average is not impressive, but she hits 250 in RBI situations, 250 with 2 outs, and 500 with bases loaded. So she definitely performs better in this role late in the game with runners on.
She holds the University of Iowa record for most home runs in a season with 4. And that's going long distance, but foul.
Well, she's the biggest Silver Bullet. She's 5'11". She certainly adds power to this lineup. Now, all the Silver Bullets have to be able to bunt for a base hit. She said she tried it earlier in the season, and as soon as she came back, the manager and the coaches were like, no, not you. You do not bunt for a base hit.
1-2. Kogenauer takes a look. 2-2 now. 2 outs. Runner on second. And we are in the top of the 9th. A full moon, we've seen stranger things happen. 21 hits for the Carolina Bombers, 11 runs, 5 hits for the Silver Bullets, 1 run, and it all's happening and unfolding under a full moon in Capital City Stadium, Columbia, South Carolina. Fly ball to left field. Left fielder gloves it, and out number 3, and that is going to close the book on a very long night for the Colorado Silver Bullets. They want to say goodnight and close the door. They fall to the Carolina Bombers 11-1. There are your final numbers from Capital City Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. The Bombers score in all but 2 innings. They win 11-1 on 21 hits, no errors. The Silver Bullets push across 1 run in the 9th inning on 5 hits and 2 errors. Davis gets the loss, Clemens gets the win. We're coming back for one final break. The Silver Bullets go down to the Carolina Bombers here in Capital City Stadium, the final 11-1. Join us for our next televised game for Silver Bullet Baseball. That game is Wednesday, July 26th against the Kalamazoo Yankees in Battle Creek, Michigan. Check your local listings for Colorado Silver Bullets Baseball. For my partner, Julie Croto, this is Tracy Warren saying so long from Capital City Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. Silver Bullets lose 11-1.